Florida State, Florida, the Gators and Noles, a rivalry marked by its passionate play. Emotions run high in this battle for bragging rights. Title dreams are on the line for both teams today. Florida State needs help, but they're still alive for the ACC championship. A win today over their in-state foes would be a big step in their quest to return to national prominence. The high-flying Gators have won 4 straight in the series. With only one blemish on their record, Tim Tebow and company know every game is a must-win to stay in the BCS title hunt. The Gators, the Seminoles, in the Sunshine State Championship next. It may be the Sunshine State battle, but we don't have any of that today in Tallahassee. Doak Campbell Stadium, Bobby Biden Field is soaked, folks. It has been raining for hours. ESPN's presentation of college football on ABC is presented by Best Buy. Not the best weather, I'll tell you that much, as we get set for number 20, Florida State, against the 4th-ranked Florida Gators from Gainesville. This was the scene about a half an hour ago. Folks, we got a good old-fashioned frog choker in Tallahassee. It was hard to warm up. It was hard to stay dry. We're going to have a lot more rain, and it's definitely going to have an effect on this football game. You take a look through our blurry lens, the ACC championship scenario. Boston College will go as Atlantic Division champions if they beat Maryland tonight. If Maryland wins, Florida State is going to Tampa. Their opponent, whoever it is going to be Virginia Tech. They won the Coastal side today by 3 over Virginia 17-14. Welcome to Tallahassee, everybody. I'm Brad Nessler. If you're an ACC fan, you're wondering who's going to play the Hokies next Saturday at Raymond James Stadium. If you're a Florida fan, you want to win 5 straight over your rivals here in Tallahassee, because that puts you in line for your SEC title game against Alabama. If you win that one, you probably go to the big game and play for all the marbles. Speaking of marbles, I'm going to bring in my marble thrower over here, Bob Greasy, one of my partners. Okay, you're a quarterback that's rained about 2 inches in the last 2 hours. Here you go. Here's the ball.
I don't like it. And, this is not a quarterback's game, but the big thing on conditions like this is ball security. And it gets back to the quarterbacks. They handle the ball the most. Now, for Tim Tebow, he's having a good year, but not the monster year he had last year. But he's got his team 2 wins away from going to the national championship game. And Christian Ponder for FSU, he's getting better and better. He's got lots of tools, lots of toys to play with. They can get the job done, but ball security is the key word today.
Well, Florida averages the number 1 team in the SEC in scoring. For Florida State, they're the number 1 scoring team in the ACC. There's Chief Osceola. He's aboard Renegade, and I'd be careful if I was that horse. Unless he's a mutter, it could get a little rough taking that spear out to midfield. For Florida State, they know they need to win this one to improve their BCS standing and where they might go bowling. Of course, they want to get to the ACC championship game, and if they win that, it's an automatic qualifier to a BCS game. This is the 53rd meeting between these two teams. And as I mentioned, Florida State has lost the last 4. There's the Seminoles of Bobby Biden. Still waiting in the tunnel. And as that scoreboard will show you a lot of scores during the course of the game, what they might not show too many times is the Maryland-Boston College score, because quite frankly, for the Seminoles, they tend to look up there, and it affects possibly how they would play here this afternoon against the Gators. So the pressure building, the crowd, 83,000 soggy and strong. Here comes Chief Osceola aboard Renegade. It's the only game of the year where Chief Osceola gets off Renegade and will plant the spear afoot. He's making his way to midfield. The chop is going. The team is coming. Here come the Gators joining us today on the field, and I think a little bit wet already is Rob Stone. Rob?
A little bit wet, Brad? Here we go. This is the worst part of the field, the corner of these end zones. How you doing here? We're going to help them bail out of here a little bit, Brad. It's not pretty here. The painted parts of the field, the worst part, because they've had so many home games, the paint has built up, can't properly drain. I spoke with a local meteorologist, said it's going to quiet down about half an hour after kickoff, saying upwards of an inch has come through here. It's starting to taper off a little bit. Again, the worst parts on the field, the painted parts. And I talked with Urban Meyer just a few moments ago, and it was during the nastiest part of this rain. I said, how much does this affect your game plan, your play call? And he said, a lot. Tim Tebow has about 6 or 7 direct snap runs planned. Expect perhaps a few more, guys.
It might neutralize Florida's speed a little bit. We'll talk more about that with Paul McGuire when we come back. As Osceola plants the spear, we go down to Rob Stone with Bobby Bond. Rob?
Well, Coach, how does the weather in these field conditions affect your play calling?
Well, the players just going to have to be careful. There's no telling what will happen on this kind of field.
How do you slow down this high-powered Florida offense today?
I hope the rain will.
Coach, thanks for your time.
That's exactly what we're thinking about. Paul, you and I, we never had any speed, but will it neutralize Florida? I guess that's one of the questions we're going to have answered here today.
It's not going to slow down Percy Harvin. Percy Harvin's #1, and he's #1 on this football team. He may be #1 in the nation. Here's a guy that averages 112 yards a game, 11 points a game, and he also has scored a touchdown in 13 straight games.
Florida State won the toss and deferred, so here's the kickoff. It'll go to Florida down to the 8-yard line. Brandon James. And he's got a crease immediately and out to about the 35-yard line. Going back, he's going to be our city X Factor. We might as well let the cat out of the bag. Percy Harvin, you think he's the best player in the country?
Oh, I don't think there's any question about this guy. He's their leading pass receiver, and he's also the second leading rusher in this football team. The thing about it is what's Florida State going to do with the other 10 guys? Right. They got to try to slow him down and then stop everybody else, including Tim Tebow. I don't think they can do it.
So Florida will set up. There's Percy Harvin with Tim Tebow, the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, at their own 35-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Gators. And already the noise, and Urban Meyer said he was worried about that. The cadence, it's Tebow and the option and the pitch to Harvin. And Florida State's all over that first carry, a loss of 2. Let's take a look at our Florida impact players, brought to you by Best Buy. And as Paul said, you got to worry about everybody. Chris Rainey actually is the leading rusher, averaging about 9.5 a carry. Brandon Spikes, 2 interception returns for touchdowns. He's their leading tackler, the linebacker. And Ahmad Black, #2 in the country in interceptions with 6. And he knows how to take them to the house going the other way as well. 2nd down and 12. Keyston Moore in the backfield with Tebow. Now there's a trio there. And it's Tebow on the keeper, and Tim Tebow into the secondary. All the way out to midfield. And there's what you just can't account for, a guy that can run like that from the quarterback position.
Well, and of course, you've got to focus your defense on Percy Harvin. Everybody does. He is the All-American that hangs around the backfield, that can run the football. But if you don't hand it to him, you've got to stop Tim Tebow also.
Right at midfield, there's the numbers on Tebow, and you can see he already splashed down at midfield. Everybody's going to be soggy in the first couple minutes, including the crowd. Tebow all alone. Snap a little bit low. Pressure coming. He threw it as he was going down. Florida State leads the ACC in sacks. They almost had one right there. Nefi Moffitt coming off the corner.
When you're putting this much pressure on the defensive guys, here's the offensive guys are just kind of sitting there. That's Watkins' number, just sitting there waiting. But Moffitt, what he does is he takes them all the way back to the quarterback. It's hard footing for the offensive lineman. The defensive lineman, if they're just going straight ahead, they've got more power.
Nefi just got his headgear back on. Almost got a sack without it. 2nd down and 10. Demps flanking Tebow in the shotgun.
Better hurry.
And timeout.
Yep.
Crowd got to him. The clock got low, and timeout. Gators. ESPN's presentation of college football on ABC, available in high definition. From a highly vocal Doak Campbell Stadium crowd, they are wound up. Doesn't matter that they're wet. 2nd down and 10 as they forced A Florida timeout moments ago. And now Tim Tebow still trying to communicate with his offensive line. 2nd down and 10. On the option, Harvin on the pitch. They got him down at the 45-yard line. Excuse me, it was Demps. Demps number 2 on the carry. Jeff Demps has 5 touchdowns rushing this year. His average touchdown run, folks, is 45 yards. I mean, come on.
What's the shortest? What, 35 yards?
Something like that, yeah. He's got to get some of Bobby Bowden's field out of his cage. It's 3rd and a long 5.
Here they come.
Tebow over the middle. Nice, easy pitch and catch and sliding. And they're going to give him. They're not going to give him the slide because the slide was 5, but he went down at the 35. Carl Moore on the receiving end of Tim Tebow. And the Gators have a 1st down at the Florida State 35.
That tells us a little bit about Mickey Andrews, the defensive coordinator. 1st 3rd down, came with a blitz. Nobody in the center of the field to help out. Tim did a nice job of just getting the ball where he could catch it.
Aaron Hernandez, the tight end, in motion on 1st down. Tebow inside the 30, cuts to the outside and run out of bounds at the 20. Myron Rolle took him out as Rhodes Scholar takes out Heisman Trophy winner on the far side of the field.
Great call, Ness. And I'll tell you what, take a look at Demps. When you fakes to Demps, number 2, watch all the people on the left-hand side of the screen go to Demps. Now look at Tebow sees the hole up the middle. You're already taking yourself. Everett Brown, number 99, the defensive end, took himself out of the play, and Tebow runs.
First down at the 20. And it's Harvin. A direct snap. They're going to bottle him up, and down he goes. Dakota Watson, first guy there. Myron Rolle helped him. Our city X Factor, we mentioned, we kind of had to cheat and blurt it out to you at the beginning of the ball game. This guy right here.
Pretty good numbers, huh?
I'd say.
That's just as receiving. He's also got some pretty nice rushing numbers.
Well, it's down there on the bottom, right 557.
Excuse me, right down below.
Didn't get anything on that one. 8th play of the Gator drive. Harvin will get a breather. Demps comes back in. 2nd down and 10. Tebow again moves his tight end. Throws it out in the flat to Demps on the run. Demps, Myron Rolle's got him, but he's got it 1st and goal at the 9-yard line. Well, down in the red zone already, where Florida is one of the best in the country. They're 47 out of 51 in the red zone. But the red zone defense of Mickey Andrews is pretty good. That's our key matchup, and it's coming to fruition right here early. At the 9-yard line. 1st and goal.
And the one thing that the Florida State people told us, they just do not want Florida to jump on top of us right away in the beginning of the game.
Percy Harvin will take a direct snap. And go off right guard. Harvin getting to the corner. He's gone. If you're wondering why Tebow's over there to help lift him in the end zone, he's over there trying to get him a block. Our X Factor just scored another touchdown.
I'll tell you, watch Percy Harvin. Once he gets out there right now, it's gone. It's over.
See Tebow, number 15, getting the block. He was lined up at the flanker position. Gets a block for score to the touchdown.
You know what? Tim Tebow is a quarterback, and he's a Heisman Trophy winner, but he's a football player. Extra point is good. 9-yard touchdown run for Percy Harvin. And for Percy, his 9th rushing score of the year. And that's about his average, too. About 9.5 per carry. Watch the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback stick his nose in there. 7-0 Gators.
This presentation of college football Brought to you by Best Buy. You happier. Chevy, an American Revolution. Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And Citibank. Whatever your story is, your Citi card can help you write it, because Citi never sleeps.
Chief Osceola, the mascot at Florida State since '78. That's Chris Gannon, who takes about 40 minutes of face paint to get ready. The Seminole Tribe has designed his wardrobe, and then he jumps on Renegade and goes out to midfield. If you're wondering why he's such a good rider, Chris is a World Cup polo player on top of being the FSU mascot this year.
There you go.
There you go. We're going to have some chuckers out here pretty soon, too, if you know anything about polo. I don't. 14-yard line. Michael Garvin. Michael Garvin down the sideline. Bumped out of bounds at the 23. '52-yard kick return.
Well, take this, Florida. You think you got good special teams? Michael Garvin, the #1 kickoff guy in the country, just can't get past the kicker.
Average 32 a return. He has a touchdown of 94 this year. He just upped his average with that one. First down at the 24-yard line for Christian Ponder in Florida State. Anton Smith puts both hands around that football. Got a yard, and that's about it. And what's Christian Ponder want to accomplish on the first series? Here's his answer.
That first series, I just want to, get used to the speed of the game and get settled down. I'm sure I'll be a little nervous and excited for this. And, once I get my feet wet, I'll be able to settle down. And our whole goal is, like you said, to score the very first possession.
Christian, I'll tell you something. Your feet are wet, son, already. There's about an inch of rain out there on a 2nd down and 9. Preston Parker, the motion man. They'll keep it on the ground to Smith off the right side. Anton pops it for about 4. Inside the 20 to the 19-yard line. As we take a look at our Best Buy impact players, Preston Parker, 5 of the last 6 games, he's had at least 5 catches. Anton Smith, he's got to get something going on the ground. He hadn't been very good against Florida in past years. And defensively, the guy that's 2nd in the country in sacks and #1 in tackles for loss. If you're Tim Tebow, watch out for number 99. 3rd down and 5. Florida State's done well on 3rd down this year. They're #1 in the conference. They'd like to keep this one going after the long kick return by Garvin. Ponder in the gun. Quick throw over the middle, bobbled and incomplete. Should have been caught by Easterling. And I'm assuming that slippery football had something to do with the fact that he looks at his gloves as if to say, I should have had it. Well, going to be a field goal attempt for Florida State to open things up. Game plan, Bob?
Well, for Florida, let the stars shine, which we've already seen some of that in Florida State. You got to be able to run the football, but you got to make the catches on critical 3rd downs right there.
Graham Gano has been almost perfect this year for Florida State kicking. 37-yard attempt, and it is right down Pensacola Street. 9:20 remaining first quarter. Both teams on the board in Tallahassee. One of the best seats in the house right there. 7-3. We got a pretty good one, too, especially with the rain. Rob, not so lucky. 9:20 remaining. That was just a 5-yard drive and 4 plays before the field goal. Obviously, the kick return was the majority of the field that was covered by Florida State to get the field goal. 7-3 Gators. Gano to kick. Brandon James and Keyston Moore back deep. James, the most dangerous, or one of the most dangerous kick returners in the country. And he popped out at the 30. Oh, and luckily somebody got a hold of him, or he might have cut it back against the grain. 22-yard return with a flag down.
Holding against Florida.
Ron Cherry, our referee, gives us the signal. Coming up tonight on ABC, it'll be a big one. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. It's Bedlam on ABC tonight, presented by Southwest Airlines, part of Rivalry Week, presented by Samsung Mobile. Tonight at 8 o'clock, Bob Stoops, his troops coming off a huge win But sometimes it can get sticky in Stillwater. It'll be a good game tonight. And that could also determine, with those two quarterbacks and those tremendous numbers this year, if Oklahoma is able to be impressive again with they hurdle Texas, who won on Thanksgiving Day over A&M, and the BCS and all of that comes into play. We'll talk about it as we go. Florida starts from its own 15-yard line. Chris Rainey, on a rainy day, you pick up about a yard. Perfect name for a guy in this weather. Rainey, another one of those fast running backs. He averages 7.5 yards a carry. Jeff Demps, who's played already, is a 10.01 100-meter man, and Rainey beat him in a race outside the dorms earlier this year.
Yeah, back to the dorms, they said, let's go out
Let's
and
go
run.
out and see who can run.
Yeah.
That's how fast they are.
Well, Percy Harvin beat them all running backwards.
Second down and 9, and Percy will flush over to the slot on the left side for Tim Tebow.
Look out.
And look out. Kevin McNeil with a sack, the 36th of the year for Florida State. Let's get an update on BC and Maryland. Matt Weiner, New York. Matt, what do you got?
Thanks and hi everyone. I'm here all throughout your game to let you know what's happening, beginning with this Taco Bell update. Florida State has become big Maryland fans today against Boston College because the BC wins them the Atlantic Division. Dominic Davis to Justin Jarvis there. Coverage of that game on ABC and ESPN2. And Georgia Tech racked up more than 400 yards rushing to beat Georgia today.
Third and 17. Harvin was circled by Bob. Tebow, plenty of time. Incomplete. Jamie Robinson might have gotten a hand on that.
I think there was a whistle before the snap,
I think
Brad.
the play clock, did it run out?
Yeah.
It did. Well, it's going to make the situation worse. Urban Meyer looking up there at the scoreboard that has his team out in front 7-3, courtesy of a Percy Harvin touchdown run of 9 yards earlier. Florida State came right back with a great kick return and turned that into a field goal. So that's where we stand here midway through the first quarter.
All right, I want to go to the quarterback here. 3rd and 21. Give me a play.
Yeah. Send this one in, Coach.
5-receiver grouping for Tim Tebow.
You don't want a turnover right here.
He'll take the snap in his own end zone. Little shovel pass, got it to Hernandez. He needed to get to the 25. He got to the 20, but he at least got their punters some room to work with.
It's a nice call by Dan Mullen, the offensive coordinator. He had a long way to go. Chances of picking it up weren't that good, but he gave it a shot at a safe play.
So Chaz Henry will come out to kick. And we got a Florida State player down on one knee. Patrick Robinson, the starting corner, who made the tackle on Hernandez, shaken up on the play.
And they're a little thin back there right now.
I just want to go back to what Matt Weiner just told us about while we've got a second. Georgia Tech, a win in Athens today, snapping one of the longest losing streaks of the Bulldogs in history. In Paul Johnson's first year as head coach at Georgia Tech, they're going to have the best record and be the highest ranked team probably from the ACC, and they're not going to be in Tampa in the ACC championship game. How about that?
Sounds like a guy who lives in Atlanta.
No,
right?
I'm just saying they lost to Virginia Tech. It's head-to-head. That's the way it goes.
That's right.
And Florida State, all they want is the opportunity to play Virginia
That's
Tech
right.
again. But as Matt's going to keep us posted on,
Right.
Maryland's got to help them.
They need a Maryland win.
Chaz Henry, who, being the Florida punter, is almost semi-retired, is set to kick. They don't punt that much. Burt Reed, fair catch called for. Oh boy, this thing's going to go the length of the field almost.
Florida State has made 2 huge mistakes. Not catching the punt and then dropping the 3rd down pass on their first offensive possession. You're not going to beat Florida by doing dumb things like that.
A 67-yard punt, and Preston Parker is saying, what are you thinking about? Bobby Bowden saying, son, dadgummit, don't do that unless you're going to do this.
Fair catch it, son. Raise your hand up there.
I agree totally with you. You have to field the ball.
I got a who am I for you, fellas. I was president of Florida State College of Women, oversaw the transition to co-ed university, and was instrumental in the start of the Florida FloridaState series 50 years ago. Who am I? I'll tell you who that is.
All right.
After Christian Ponder drops into a 1st and 10 from his own 13-yard line. Fakes the pass and now runs it back the other way. He's a good runner. And he's got a 1st down. And he's roughed up out of bounds in front of the Florida State bench. I would watch out if I was Brandon Spikes. And Brandon is surrounded by garnet and gold. Get him out of there.
You know, first of all, it's a stupid play to make. That's number 1 for Spikes. But the other thing that's really stupid is to do it in their bench. Don't do it. If you're going to do it on your own bench. But I mean, this is really dumb. We know how heated this ball game is, and they all have to calm down just a little bit and just watch what Spike says. I mean, it's crazy. Ponder's out. Now, not only is he pushing, but he falls on top of him.
Personal foul, Florida. Well, if it wasn't warm enough earlier, it is now.
Before the game, with all the rain that we had, everybody was pretty cool and calm. Nobody got near each other, the two teams, because this one is a fierce rivalry. It's not like Miami and Florida State or Miami and Florida. It's Florida and Florida State.
And that's what Bobby Bowden told us last time we talked to him before this game. He said, you know, Miami, that series, we're kind of respectful. Florida, you know, they think we're the stepchildren from out west. It's a little bit chippier. At the 41-yard line, straight ahead, pick up a 2 by Jermaine Thomas. Well, we talked about what Bobby Bowden thinks of the rivalry. What does Urban Meyer think of the rivalry?
Probably the thing that makes it, everybody knows each other. You know, we recruited every player on their team, and they recruit every player on our team. And it's a very heated rivalry.
And, of course, he has never lost to Bobby Bowden. 3-0. 2nd down and 9. Thomas stays in there flanking Christian Ponder, and they've got movement on the left side for Florida State. It's going to be 2nd down and 14.
False start, 67, offense. That's the 5-yard penalty.
True freshman Andrew Datko over there at left tackle jumped. We asked you the who am I earlier, and I'll tell you who I am. The answer to the question, Doak Campbell. Grease, you want to circle him over there?
Yeah.
Mr. Campbell. There he is on the right side, after which the stadium is named, along with Bobby Bowden Field. And Doak Campbell started this Florida State series 50 years ago. And I heard Lee Corso say that he was on the coaching staff in that first one. So you can do the math on how old Lee is then. He was a 23-year-old assistant defensive back coach. If you want to do the math, Lee, if you're watching, and you probably are.
The backup quarterback, Devontre Richardson, was in there, ran a little option play. He's got a set of plays, maybe 6, 7, 8, 10 plays he can run, and when they'll just salt and pepper him in the ball game every now and then.
Yeah, they put Ponder back in there for the 3rd down and 12. Let's see if he can find Preston Parker, Greg Carr, or somebody. Remember, he had a pass dropped on him on the last series by Easterling that could have kept the drive alive before the field goal attempts. Ponder with time, going deep, and tipped and intercepted by Major Wright.
Boy, was that a great defensive play. Not on the interception was fine, but before the interception, to knock the ball away.
Janoris Jenkins, the guy that did it.
Oh, he just times the ball absolutely perfectly, and not only, but he keeps it alive. Just watch what he does by hitting the ball. Here goes Jenkins. Now watch this. He sees the ball. He's got it. He hits it up in the air off his shoulder.
Okay, bottom line is, don't get upset, Christian Ponder. It was 3rd and 12. It's as good as a punt. You've got them backed up inside their 15-yard line.
That's the 21st interception by Florida this year, and the 3rd by Major Wright. Now Tebow gives off to Harvin, who cuts back against the grain. And a nice open field tackle by Jamie Robinson. Pickup of just 2. 4:10 remaining in the quarter.
That's the one thing, Brad, that this defensive FSU needs to do is tackle one-on-one in space with some of these guys that are pretty quick, like Demps and Harvin.
Second down and 8. Now it's Tebow in an empty backfield. Joined and slipped. Whoa.
That's how
that might be a penalty. I guess he wasn't moving. Tebow's just got to eat it, keep it. He might have wanted to give it off to Moore. I'm not sure. But you saw Moore come back, try to set up, slipped right down on his rear. Let's go to Matt Weiner, New York. Matt.
All right, Brad, SportsCenter right now powered by Vizio, and Maryland has tied things up at Boston College. Chris Turner to Torrey Smith on the deep ball, 43 yards, takes him all the way down to the one where Turner takes care of the touchdown himself. Now 7-all. Again, Boston College wins the division with a win over the Terps.
And if the Terps win, they've got a lot of fans here in Tallahassee because Florida State would go. When you see that circle, that's where Percy Harvin is. Tebow flushed again. He'll keep it. Tim on the run. Whoa! Head-on collision out to the 40-yard line with Jamie Robinson. Did I say earlier that Tim Tebow is a football player?
Well, he's 6'3" and he weighs 240 pounds, and he's going full speed. And Jamie Robinson, don't try to catch this guy. Look at Tebow now. Watch him. When he sees the opening, he's gone. Now he's moving. There's no movement except bam, right there. That movement knocked him down.
That's the extra dimension that Tim Tebow gives this Florida offense. They've got all these skill guys running downfield. If nobody's open, he can pack it and go.
Tim's still trying to adjust his headgear after that collision. He collides again. The rain intensifies. He got about 2. You can probably see it starting to come down again pretty strong, folks.
The one thing about this is the advantage really is to the offensive receivers because and running back because they know where they're going. They know how far they're going to run before they make a move. Defensively, you're in a back pedal. You have no idea. And if you try to stop, you're going to slip.
Florida might be thinking that they're playing in the swamp. Second down and 8. And motion on one side or another. Flag down. Let's check in with Rob.
Well, Jimbo Fisher told us yesterday he wouldn't mind a swamp. He said the nastier the better as far as the weather and the field conditions. I ran across the field about 2 minutes ago, Brad. It seemed to be holding up well as there was that brief respite in between rain. But as you said, it is picking up and picking up substantially right now. And again, the worst parts on the field are those that are painted.
No doubt. And they were squeegeeing off those garnet end zones, as you saw earlier in the ballgame. They'll have to do so again, I'm sure, at halftime. Second and 3, that penalty against Thacker really helps the Florida offense because Tim Tebow can just keep this thing if he wants to in the rain right now. And he rides it and gives it off. And off to the races. Demps. Corey Mangum saved a touchdown.
Grace, did you see how fast he got to the hole? I mean, it's just incredible. With these guys, they take one step and they're at top speed.
We told you Demps is a 10.01 100-meter guy. He is faster than a rabbit in love. Here he comes.
Percy Harvin is not even in the game. Mickey Andrews, the defensive coordinator, said we're going to identify Harvin wherever he is when he's in the game. You also got to watch out for Demps.
Now Moore is in there. Estepinen as a tight end type. Tebow first and goal. Fakes it. Harvin goes straight ahead and got it to about the 7-yard line. Dakota Watson made the tackle.
Percy Harvin goes in motion, and about 4 guys start shifting a little bit down the line of scrimmage into the area where he may end up.
Well, second down and goal. Line of scrimmage is a 7-yard line. Florida leading 7-3. Waning moments of the first quarter. Tebow aligns his troops. Hernandez, his tight end, will go in motion on second and goal. Tebow rolls to throw, wants to come back this way, and he's got a man wide open. Hernandez walks in. Touchdown, Florida. Just another one of Tebow's weapons. Hernandez, the tight end, his 4th touchdown catch of the year.
You know, Ness, at the beginning of the game, you said to me about their speed, and they got all the speed. Well, you have to account for all of it. But the other guy that you really have to account for is the tight end, Hernandez, because he had, going into this game, 22 catches. Pretty good football player.
Yep. The extra point is up and good. 2 seconds remaining in the first quarter. And Tim Tebow, an excited Gator, that his 23rd touchdown pass of the year, rolls to his left and fading away finds number 81 at the 1 and into the end zone. Touchdown, Gators. It just got a little wetter to chop, a little colder to chop because the Gators have extended the lead. An 84-yard drive, fellas, in 7 plays. A lot of Tim Tebow, a lot of Percy Harvin, and then Hernandez, the capper. And that's Tim's 26th touchdown that he's accounted for in the last 8 games. That ain't bad. Sturgis will kick. Michael Garvin and Taiwan Easterling wait on the other end. Garvin had a great kick return on the first one. They're going to have to come up in a hurry on this one on the fly at the 23. Easterling down the sideline and bumped out of bounds at about the 44-yard line to end the first quarter. A good quarter for the Gators, 14-3. (14-3) Florida to start the second quarter. They have been a phenomenal team in the first quarter this year. The numbers are astonishing, what they've held other teams to and what they've scored themselves. Now Florida State's going to try to answer. Christian Ponder and his troops from the 45-yard line. Ponder looking right all the way to Preston Parker. Parker goes out and he's got 9, almost 10. Let's take you back to the touchdown to Hernandez, the tight end.
All right, here's the tight end that's going to catch the ball. This tight end's going to come across, and Tebow is going to roll out, and Hernandez kind of slow blocks. Watch him there on the left side. He blocks, he blocks, he blocks. Then he sneaks to the right. I used to love those kind of plays. It was a sneak.
Little sneak. Would you throw that to Mandich out there?
Yeah, we called that 8 behind.
8 behind.
Yeah.
Well, right now, Florida State is 11 behind. Here comes the blitz. Ponder. Whoa, nice catch by Parker. And Parker's got a first down. And down to the 42-yard line. And Parker went down in a twisted heap. And I hope he's going to be okay getting up. Well, he's not getting up. And that would take a huge... Oh, man, that would take a huge piece out of this Florida State offense. He's been their best wide receiver the last 5 or 6 games.
Exactly. He's playing well. He's got a big playability, and, you know, you don't want to get anybody hurt when he's playing well, obviously.
Florida State, Paul, they got to just calm down. They're in Florida's end of the field. It's not over yet. There's a lot of football left.
Yeah, all they have to do is really settle down. You know, Ponder wanted to know how fast this game was going to be. Yeah. It's real fast.
It's real fast.
But just calm down a little bit, because the offensive guys, again, when you watch them run a pattern, they know where they're going.
Let's check in with Rob.
Guys, I was able to talk to Jimbo Fisher before kickoff and asked him about Christian Ponder, how he handles the weather. And Bob, I know there's some quarterback secrets to dealing with the wet weather. He said he's got long fingers and is able to really kind of wrap his hand around the ball, so it's not that big of a difficulty for him to throw in these conditions.
4 wide receivers for Christian. In the shotgun. He's going to give it off to Smith. And that's one thing, guys. I still think Florida State's got to stay with this. If they don't get the ground game going, they're going to be in trouble.
Well, that's why we said in the game plan, they've got to be able to run the football. Ponder is no Tebow. He can't do it by himself.
And Anton Smith has not had good years. He missed one of the matchups against Florida, but he only had 20 total yards coming in, including 4 carries for 6 yards last year against the Gators. He's in there along with Jermaine Thomas, the sensational freshman with Ponder. Smith, left side. Swarmed under at about the 34-yard line by Brandon Antoine. Let's take a look at our ESPNU All-State standings. Alabama and Auburn are tied right now, we understand. Texas won on Wednesday. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, big one at 8 o'clock tonight on ABC. Texas Tech trailing Baylor. Oh, boy. Utah's all done with a perfect year. Boise State, also a winner. And you see the two Big Ten teams at the end of regular season.
If Texas Tech loses, then Texas and Oklahoma is not a three-way anymore. It's head-to-head.
Right.
That goes to Texas.
Exactly. Keep your eye on that one. 3rd and 2. End around. Going the other way and slipping and falling and losing yardage was Burt Reed.
That's where the biggest problem is in this football field. We saw one of the Florida players try to get back behind Tebow, and he slipped and fell. When you're trying to make a cut between those two hash marks, that's where basically all the water's settled, Bob. On the other side, they go off. And these guys are trying to make a severe cut in the middle of the field. They're not going to do it.
Right now, two of the best players on the team on the field, Preston Parker and now Brandon Spikes, who's injured on the last play.
Cunningham, the defensive end, is going to stay home. Look at him out there. He's just waiting for him.
He's going to get credit for a tackle, too.
Yeah. He says, I don't want any part of that defensive end. He wasn't there in practice all week.
Yeah, that is one of those things. How come when we ran in practice, he wasn't standing there?
Yeah.
Cunningham playing in his 31st career game. He's seen a lot of things. Not much is going to fool him. Graham Gano, kind of a rarity in football. The punter and the place kicker set to punt on a 4th down and 5. Brandon James waits on the other end. Just wants to keep this out of the end zone and inside the 10, and he did both. At about the 7-yard line. That's where Florida will have it with a 14-3 lead when we come back. Florida hasn't had good field position, hasn't prevented them from leading in the football game. 14-3, they'll work the Gators from their own 7-yard line. Demps in the backfield with Tim Tebow. Will set up right at about the 2-yard line. He rides it to Demps, and Demps cracks the 10-yard line out to the 12. Tim Tebow, his team on a 7-game winning streak after losing to Ole Miss. He said it was time to refocus.
Go out there and play every play like it's our last. You know, it sounds cliche, but I think we've really done it. We've gone out there and played every play with passion, with enthusiasm, with a love for the game that we might not ever play it again. And I think that's what's made the biggest difference.
He is some kind of competitor. 2nd down and 5.
Sounds like one of the coaches talking.
Yeah, doesn't he? He's going to roll the throw. He might keep it now. Flags are down. Might have a holding call as Tebow takes it out near the line of scrimmage. After that 1-point loss to Ole Miss, Tim Tebow got up in the press conference afterwards and he said, I'm taking this on my shoulders. I apologize to my coaches, my teammates, and the Gator Nation. It's all on me. From that point on, coming into this game in that 7-game winning streak, they had outscored the opposition 369 to 82.
Yeah.
Not bad, huh?
And I think one of the reasons he did that, and of course, Urban said the other day, he says, well, Tim takes everything on his shoulders. He takes blame for everything. I think one of the reasons he did because he was trying to change the way he played. He was trying to stay in the pocket and be a pocket passer.
Urban Meyer said if the weather's bad, Tim takes credit for that. Well, it's bad. Oh, Florida State's got it. Nefi Moffitt. The huge break the Seminoles were looking for. Derek Nicholson's the guy that made the hit on Demps.
You know, in the beginning you said protect the football. And the game with the intensity of this football game, and then it's all wet. And then you see Demps. He's got the perfect handoff. You've got to protect the football.
He's a little guy. Demps is only 5'8" and 175 pounds. Florida coming into the game led the nation in turnover margin at plus 18.
Florida State has got to take advantage of these kind of opportunities now at the 14-yard line. Ponder, pump fake, quarterback, keeper, all the way. And he only got about a yard or two. Joe Hayden ran him out of bounds. Let's check in with Rob Stone. Rob?
Well, Preston Parker back out on the field. It was his right ankle. They retaped it on the sideline. Brad, he kind of popped off the bench, tried to test it. Didn't look all that good, but obviously he's back out there. It's good enough to go. But here's the bad news. Starting corner Patrick Robinson, his right knee ice. He is done for at least this first half.
Oh, boy.
And that's Preston Parker just limped off the field again. So he's not back. He played that one play, and he's back here.
Timeout. Florida, 10-21. They don't want to let Florida State get a touchdown. We'll see if they do when we come back. Tough spot for a Gator fan, stuffed in between two Florida State fans who are a lot bigger than you. But at least you got your helmet on. 2nd down and 9. Florida State trying to take advantage of the Florida fumble.
It's Carr out there on the top of your screen.
And again, movement, and I think it's going to be on Florida State because Christian Ponder just put his head up as if to say, not again.
False start, 62, offense.
This one's on the left guard, Hudson. Time right now for our Aflac trivia question.
Aflac.
What former Gators quarterback has coached his team to a championship already this season? Wow.
Now this one's really good.
Okay, think that one over. We'll let you know a little bit later. 2nd down and 14. They're making it harder on Christian Ponder.
You just can't have those type penalties there.
Has time. Going to go to the corner of the end zone. And any flags? Nope. Incidental contact in the corner. Corey Surency, the intended receiver, and Janoris Jenkins, the true freshman cornerback, out there covering. He is going to be something special, they think. He's already pretty darn good.
Yeah, and he's only 5'10". Surency, the receiver, was 6'5", so they like that. Florida State does a lot of jump balls when they get inside the 10-yard line.
Anton Smith hesitating. Is he supposed to be back out there or not? Now he's turning around. Oh, boy, they got some confusion as to the lineup here. And timeout, Florida State.
This is not very impressive.
Nope.
You get inside the 20-yard line with a turnover, not very impressive.
You're watching ESPN College Football on ABC, presented by Best Buy.
Brandon Spikes back defensively for Florida. It's a 3rd down and 14 after the timeout. I wonder where Greg Carr has gone out of the Florida State offense. That's my question. There he is. Bob just circled him. 3rd and a bunch. Ponder running for his life. Throws back in the end zone, threw it away. Intended, well, closest guy, I should say, is Burt Reed. So they're going to have to go for a field goal.
Yeah, he may have had a shot at him, Brad, if he would have just lowered it about 10 feet.
if Wilt Chamberlain would have been in the back of the end zone, we had a play on it. But
you know, the ball is wet and it's heavy. It's a little slippery. You throw it on the run, but you got to make those plays. Florida State, they've gotten good field position on a couple of drives, and this defense for the Gators has just shut them down.
Gano is hit from 37. He'll try here from 36 to try to take advantage of the fumble recovery and at least get something out of it. Gano, kick on the way, and he's got it. Yeah. With 10 minutes remaining in the half.
Field goals aren't going to get it.
Nope, not going to get it done.
Not in this game.
Yep, 14-6. Earlier we asked you the trivia question. What former Gator quarterback has coached his team to a championship already this season? I had no idea. Kerwin Bell, Jacksonville. There you go.
Yeah.
There's Kerwin. He was a good one. Now head coach in Jacksonville. Congratulations to them. So we've got 14-6 with exactly 10 minutes remaining in the second quarter. Tim Tebow pacing that sideline, getting ready to put the helmet back on and head back out there. Well, that drive, if you want to call it a drive, guys, after the fumble recovery, 3 plays, -4 yards.
Yeah. Florida State's gotten the ball twice. Well, here it is right here. This is just what I was going to say. On Florida's into the field, and they come away with field goals.
Florida State was hoping that they could maybe put up their point average per game, which is tops in the ACC at 34 plus. The only problem is the Gators score almost 47 a game. But right now it's just an 8-point ball game. So a lot of football left. Gano to kick. Brandon James takes off from about the 8-yard line. James flags down. Still on his feet out to the 43, but I think it's all coming back. We've already had one of those penalties today. And it is the same. So they'll back it up. Would have had great field position. As you talk about our Pacific Life game summary in this one, we figured Percy Harvin would get involved in a direct snap situation. Not only that, he got a great block from his quarterback who was playing flanker. A 9-yard touchdown was the first score of the game. And then on the throwback to Hernandez, the tight end, it went up to 14-3 after Florida State had picked up a field goal moments ago. Another Gano three-pointer, and that's where we are. If you're just joining us, 14-6, Florida out in front.
And again, that's Percy Harvin's 14th consecutive game with a touchdown. That's amazing.
That leads the country. Tebow in the gun. The handoff to Harvin. No place to hide, and a flag flies into the fray as well. Might be a holding call on top of it. If so, it's going to have the Gators backed up inside their own 10. Well, these are two of the most penalized teams around.
You're right. You're right. And that, you know, you look at the Gators. They're good on offense. They are good on defense. They are good on special teams. But about the only thing that gets them, they are the 11th most penalized team in the conference. Only one other team penalized more in the SEC.
That's Georgia.
Yeah.
Don't know how many the Dogs had today. So it is a decline penalty to make it 2nd down and 11. Crowd trying to get into it for their defense again. Harvin joins Moore in the backfield. They fake it to him. Tebow keeps it all the way. Tim Tebow, they're trying to rip the ball out, but he got out to a 1st down at the 25.
The reason that Tim Tebow is consistent in the middle of the field, because you remember now, he's just running straight ahead. He fakes the handoff, and he's in a forward motion. Watch, he doesn't have to make any cuts or anything. Take a look at Tim Tebow right here. He hands it. Now he goes straight up the middle. So he's running straight ahead. If you're going to attack Florida State, get outside of those boundaries, outside of those hash marks.
He got the 1st down at the 25. Keeps it again. Diving out to about the 29-yard line. Tim Tebow's done a little bit of everything. Here he is on the run. There'll be a big collision at the end of this run. Here he is as a blocker. That got Percy Harvin the corner for the touchdown. And oh yeah, I can throw it. Mr. Everything.
Says it all, doesn't it?
They say Superman wears Tim Tebow pajamas. Emmanuel Moody into the ball game for the first time today. Tebow wanting to come back to his secondary receiver. Now throws on the run, sliding but incomplete. Lewis Murphy. Murphy lost his footing, or he probably would have had it. Well, coming up tomorrow at 8/7 Central, he spent his life caring for the sick but couldn't save his own. We celebrate a hero's life by giving his family the new start to a dream life. It's Extreme Makeover Home Edition, all new tomorrow at 8/7 Central on ABC. Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, Paul McGuire, Rob Stone. Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee, Florida on a rainy day in the capital of the Sunshine State. 14-6, Florida leads. They've got 3rd down and 5 from their own 30. Tebow down the middle and complete. On the run is Nelson. 1st down all the way down to the 42-yard line of the Seminoles.
You say Tebow can't drop back, sit in the pocket, throw the ball down the field on 3rd down. Take a look. Receiver's going to break in from the right side. Good pass protection. A lot of time to throw.
Perfect throw.
Look at the time of possession, twice as long for Florida. And a whole bunch of yards already. They average 445 yards of total offense. That's number 1 in the SEC. First down, Tebow play action. Gonna go for all of it. Down the sideline, flags down, tipped, incomplete, intended for Harvin. But it's Tony Carter out there with him, and it's gonna be pass interference.
On Tony Carter. I'll tell you what, you got to get a lump in your throat when you see old Percy Harvin come running right down alongside you, and you know they're going to throw the ball to you. There goes Harvin down the sideline. I mean, if he didn't have to wait on the ball. He's got Carter beat. Right there, he's got him beat. But then you should see Carter's left arm just holding on to him. He's got him wrapped up. I would.
Well, that's the pass interference right there, holding his arm.
Yeah, it was Tony Carter was there with him speed-wise, but you can't grab the guy, so they'll walk off to the 27-yard line. Where it's 1st and 10. Tebow again, play fake. Wants it to the end zone again. And we might have another flag. Nope, they just got their feet tangled up. It was Lewis Murphy they were trying to go for, and it was Michael Garvin covering.
Let's take another look. Murphy, one of their top wide receivers. I don't think there was anything there.
Yep. Remember, Patrick Robinson limped off earlier. Garvin is not a regular starting corner, and now Corey Mangum is in on that side, so they're picking on a spot right now, or trying to. 2nd down and 10. Tebow, shovel pass, Hernandez. Bangs his way down to about the 12.
You know something, Ness? You see all the moves of everybody else. Okay, now you got Hernandez. He's 6'3", 255 pounds. A little shovel pass, but the move that he makes at the end to avoid the tackle, that just shows you some great footwork. He's a big kid.
You got everything in this offense, Paul. Watch this now. This is the tight end. He's going to go this way, and the tight end's going to come with him and take the forward pass. He fakes it like he's going to fake it to the left, pitch it to the back. He throws it forward to the tight end.
First down at the 13. And now Harvin on the direct snap. Left side. Inside the 10. Got about 5. Nigel Brandon made the tackle, and Harvin grabs his right ankle. That's not good.
That isn't good at all. We asked Dan Mullen, the offensive coordinator, which guy could you do without? Percy Harvin or Tim Tebow? He didn't want to talk to us.
No, he didn't want to talk about it.
He didn't want to talk about it.
They're holding their breath right now, you can bet. Not a sight you want to see if you're a Gator fan or your offensive coordinator Dan Mullen to the right of your screen. Percy Harvin, it has taken all that time just to walk him off to the far side. Here's another look at the run.
It's a linebacker coming from the left. Now his right foot. The linebacker's going to fall on his right foot, and he gets his right foot and ankle trapped underneath the weight of the linebacker.
There you see the hit.
Yeah.
By Brandon.
That's not only a tough injury to come back to this game for, but they have a date with Alabama in the SEC championship game next week, and I don't think he'll be able to play in that game knowing what I know about those types of injuries.
So now that's going to put a little more pressure on Jeffrey Demps and Rainey and Tebow. 9th play of the Gator drive, and it's 2nd down and 5. Florida State thinking about a blitz. They'll bring it. Demps almost to the first down marker. Myron Rolle made the tackle. It's going to be 3rd down and a yard or so.
I'll tell you, these plays hit so quick when you see Demps up in that hole, and then Tebow just releases the ball into his hand. Tebow sees that hole, and that is going to bring up 3rd and about a half a yard.
This thing's got Tim Tebow all over it, don't you think, Grease? It's third down in the yard.
Especially last year when he ran the ball a lot more, but this is a key game. I think you're going to see Tebow running it right here.
Third down and 1. Here he comes. There he goes. Touchdown. For Tim Tebow, his 12th rushing touchdown of the year.
Did that look a little too easy for you, Grease? It did look a little easy, did it?
Watch, he's just going to stand up and everybody's just going to push everything in. The offensive lineman push, push, push. All right, we're in.
A 4-yard touchdown by Tebow. That's the paint from the end zone. It's not blood, folks. The extra point is. Let's check in with Rob.
Well, guys, I've had both eyeballs on Percy Harvin as soon as he came to this sideline. This is the first time he's come over to the trainer's table. They were essentially just trying to let him walk it off. He threw his helmet down in disgust. You could just see by his facial expressions, Brad, he was certainly not happy, but he reached down. He's kind of tweaking the upper part of his right ankle. Right now they got his shoe off, and they're going to cut off the tape job they did on that right ankle and re-examine it right now. But they're trying to let him walk it off. We're going to try and talk to Coach Meyer at halftime about what he knows about this, too.
All right, Rob, thanks. If it does end up to be one of those dreaded, if you've heard the term in athletics, high ankle sprain, Grease is right. He might not be around till bowl game time if he's lucky.
And he's not going to be the Percy Harvin that we know.
Right.
Especially next week. Now, maybe if they reach the championship game in January 7th or 8th or whenever it is, he might get back by then. But he's certainly not going to be himself next week if going up against Alabama.
I agree. I don't think I've ever seen a guy come back within 4 weeks of a high ankle sprain, the one that Ness was just talking about. I mean, the coaches don't even want to mention it.
But you know what? Having said that, I think it will affect this offense a little bit, but I think they've got other guys, Rainey and Demps, to plug in those spots. I don't think they'll miss him.
Kick goes out of bounds, I think, at about the 1-foot line, and that's a penalty.
Yeah.
Sturgis got it. He wanted one more length of the football for that thing, and it would have gotten to the goal line. Let's check in with Matt Weiner in New York with an update. Matt.
All right, Brad, our nominee for the AT&T ESPN All-America Player of the Week is actually two players. The Georgia Tech running back tandem of Jonathan Dwyer and Ronnie Jones, who racked up 358 yards on the ground and 4 touchdowns as the Ramblin' Wreck ran all over Georgia. To cast your vote, text the word vote to 51234 on your AT&T wireless phone.
Oh, number 20, number 21 were big.
Yeah. Did very good.
First down at the 40. The penalty on the kick. Still trying to get the running game going. It goes pretty well that time. 6 or 7 for Anton Smith tonight. ESPN brings you the 80th meeting between Notre Dame and USC. Pete Carroll's got his team in that number 5 spot in the BCS. College football primetime presented by Hampton Hotels, part of Rivalry Week presented by Samsung Mobile on ESPN at 8 o'clock tonight. Jimmy Clausen has trouble on the road, especially throwing it to the wrong team. Sanchez's numbers 26 and 7. Couple of California kids battling out west. On second down, Smith again, big hole. Anton Smith, nice blocking that time by Florida State's young offensive line, and he got down to the 41-yard line, a pickup of 13, and he is limping off. Gee whiz, it's like a mash unit out here today.
Well, the problem is that you really can't plant your foot. Your foot's slipping all the time, and once you get your foot moving, and then one of these guys, big guys, hits you.
And he landed awkwardly. I can see why he limped off. First down, though. Jermaine Thomas, the freshman, takes his spot with Christian Ponder in the backfield. And he'll give it off to him. Thomas got great speed. Thomas cut back. Whoops.
Yeah, see, you can't do what you normally want to do. And we've seen this kid play before, this Thomas kid. On a dry field, he may have taken that one to the house.
Penalty marker on the play on the far side.
They were offside defense.
So they'll take the run. But Ron Cherry will tell us about it. Or show us about it. Urban Meyer.
51. The penalty is declined. The result of the run is a first down.
Tim Tebow coming over to Percy Harvin. Two main cogs in the Urban Meyer Gator offense. First down at the 31. Florida State's got 4:17 and a couple of timeouts to work with to try to change the scoreboard. Thomas, not much there.
And they don't need a field goal here. They need a touchdown. And you were right, Grease, before we said field goals won't win this football game.
Brandon Spikes. He's been banged around in there. Leading tackler on the Florida team. Boston College has taken the lead over Maryland in the second quarter. Remember, a Maryland win allows Florida State to make it to Tampa. A BC win and the Eagles go to play Virginia Tech next Saturday. We'll be there to bring it to you. Whoever might be joining the Hokies. Second down and 9. Here comes a blitz. Ponder throws, completes it to Reed. And he's out of bounds at about the 18-yard line. And he's got a first down. I think we can get an update on how BC scored. Here's Matt.
That's what I'm here for. Brad, SportsCenter in game from Chestnut Hill. One play after an interception. Boston College going for it. Dominic Davis up top to Rich Goodell, wide open. 45 yards on the score. The Golden Eagles have taken a 14-7 lead. Glenn Coffey has a 41-yard touchdown run, and Alabama leads the Iron Bowl 10-0.
All right, Matt, thanks for the update. 3 minutes and change remaining here in the first half in Tallahassee. Wide snap. Ponder handled it, one-handed it, and then just burrows his way down to the 14-yard line. A pickup of about 4. That might have been the best reception by a Florida State guy today, catching that snap.
Catching the 5-yard snap.
Coming up, guys will have the halftime report for you. All the scores and highlights from the games already concluded. Few surprises, a lot of points put up around the country, and then a look ahead to tonight. Florida State, their red zone offense has been exceptional this year as well. They really, as Paul said and Bob said earlier, need a touchdown. Ponder over the head of Cedric Holloway, I guess, and he's mad at himself. Holloway was just standing out there sort of wide open, and the ball sailed way out.
It's been 5 games since the #1 unit of defensive unit for Florida has given up a touchdown. 5 games.
They mentioned not only their first quarter supremacy, but the first half, as Bob just said.
This was
it just gets worse, and Charlie Strong is the guy that runs it.
Preston Parker just ran onto the field, not on the playing field, but from the locker room nest, and he's got his helmet and he's ready to go in.
Huge third down here for Christian Ponder. Reed in motion. Ponder throws in and out of the hands of Surency. Janoris Jenkins hit him at the perfect time.
Janoris Jenkins is a true freshman playing for the first time this year. He's made 10 starts. If you're going to pick on anybody, you would think this would be who you want to throw it to. But you got to beat him. He's a good player.
Guy that showed up in January and was a starter in the first game of the season as a true freshman in the Florida Gator backfield. That's impressive.
They've got some talent back there.
Gano is hit from 37 and 36. He'll try from 32. This is what they didn't need, but they'll take it anyway, and he got it anyway. Another field goal. Well, 21-9, 2:04 left first half. Take a look at our performers of the week. Rob, what do you got?
My performers of the week was my digestive system. It did a wonderful job on Thursday. My mom stepped up to the plate, pounded the Duffin muffins, the turkey, the potatoes, the stuffing. I was a machine.
Good job, Paul.
Well, mine is with Colt McCoy, and that's 2 touchdowns, passing, running.
Matt Castle for me, 400 yards passing, 2 in a row.
I got to go with Brooke Burke, Dancing with the Stars champion. I hope my wife didn't hear that, and I hope Brooke's husband didn't hear that, but I got to take her. Sensational performance. The right one won.
That's true.
I agree. Even though I called the Dancing Bear
Yeah, Warren was great.
And he showed he could dance.
You bet.
Tell you what, he did better than anybody else. Sweat.
Yeah,
he can sweat now.
Now that I think about it, probably should have taken Brooke Burke's husband. Anybody that would put up with somebody grabbing my wife for 12 weeks in a row on national television, he might have been the guy, huh?
Hugging on her and kissing on her.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Kick goes right to where Brandon James was waiting for it at about the 11, and he slides into second base. He's safe at the 24-yard line. Got a did you know for you, fellas. You might not have known this one. Did you know that the drink known as Gatorade was first developed by FSU team Dr. R.A. Johnson in '62? It was called Seminole Firewater back in the day, and then Florida patented it in 1967.
Yeah, Keith
and
Jackson.
they still won't drink it. Here in Miami, they won't drink it. They have a different kind of power.
Yeah, what do they got?
Yeah, they got Powerade, I think.
Well, Keith Jackson did the commercial back
sure
then.
He did. And the legend continues. First down at the 24-yard line. Tebow, whoa, dangerous pass, but caught. And it's Brandon James. That was about a yard and a half from being a Florida State touchdown. Instead, it's a big gainer for James.
Well, this is what Mickey Andrews told us yesterday. He said, we have to make tackles in the open field. We cannot allow these guys to get extra yardage. Here it is. It's almost intercepted. But now watch the missed tackles. There's one.
Yeah.
You just can't miss tackle in the open field.
He's taking the place. There's Mickey Andrews right there. James is taking the place of Harvin, who's out with the ankle injury.
Mickey in his 25th year. The Florida State defensive coordinator sideline. Tebow with the rain intensifying again. Has plenty of time and throws it complete to Riley Cooper. Pickup of about 5. Florida, as you can see, only has one timeout left. And as John Delvecchio, our director, gives us a great shot of the rain, that is what's coming down right now with 1:35 remaining in the half. Second down and 5. Tebow waiting, floating it out, completes it to Nelson, who tiptoes out of bounds at midfield. They got plenty of time left here. And another score by Florida, even if it's a field goal, would be a little bit demoralizing for Florida State going to the locker room, I think.
Unless you look at what here's Nelson now. He's the third guy listed on the wide receiver on that side. He catches the ball and smart enough, get out of bounds, get what you can, get out, stop the clock, save the timeouts. I mean, this whole team thinks.
Florida huddles right there about 2 yards from the line of scrimmage. Team leading at the half pretty often is the one that goes home happy.
Most of the time.
Tebow, empty backfield again. He might run this thing. Nope, he's going to load and fire. And he's got his man, and it's Lewis Murphy. And Murphy slides down on another big first down.
What rain? We're having fun out here.
Yeah, Gators love weather like this.
Yeah, let's throw this ball around.
You know, when you look at Tebow, you don't see the guy drop back like the normal. He just catches the ball and stands there. He's, because he knows he's got blocking in front of him. He catches, stands there, and finds an open guy. Boom.
Gonna roll to try to find one here and loft it to the end zone. Touchdown, Hernandez. Second time they've hooked up today, and even with a weapon missing, the weapons continue on the field. Hernandez, a 24-yard touchdown catch.
When we asked Dan Mullen, the offensive coordinator, who would you give up, Percy Harvin or Tebow? I think I would have picked Tebow. I mean, I would have taken Tebow because we got other people that can take the place of Harvin.
Phillips' extra point is good.
Tebow is he's outstanding. He is the heart and the soul of this offensive team, maybe the whole team.
Here's another look.
I just like the way he just stands and he looks around. Look at, I mean, he's waiting, he's patient, he knows he's got blocking. And look at Hernandez, wide open in the end zone. Man, oh man, oh
man. Hernandez, second of the day, 5th of the year. A happy bunch of Gators And Gator fans, 57 seconds. Did I say they had plenty of time and they had a timeout there? They didn't need it.
They didn't need it.
No, they didn't need it.
Yeah.
And there's Tebow doing one of those jump bumps with one of his big offensive linemen, one of the Pouncey brothers. That was Mike Pouncey, the right guard. Marquise, number 56, is the center. They play side by side to protect number 15. Wow.
Aren't they amazing, though? They're both of these, they're identical twins. They're 6'5" each. They both weigh 310 pounds. I mean, I wonder if he's ever made a mistake.
We want to send a word out to their stepfather, Rob Webster, who was involved in an accident that cost him his leg this week, caught between a couple of train cars back in his hometown. Their mom, Lisa, is here at the game to support her two big twin boys. Here's Michael Garvin on the kick return out to the 46. So Florida State's got some time to work with. There's the Pouncey boys. One's got a little bit of a scar on his cheek. That's the only way Urban Meyer can tell one from the other when they don't have their uniform number on.
Right.
There are some good ones, too. So now Christian Ponder has got 2 timeouts, 50 seconds. You know, I hate to put it this way, but at least if they did get in field goal range, that would help a little bit. Ponder in the shotgun, Florida State from the 46-yard line. Look out, Christian, you got rid of it, and it's complete. And it's Carr finally catching one at the 40-yard line. Pickup of 16. Trying to hurry things up here. They're going to stop the clock to move the chains. Chains got a little tangled up with some of the Florida coaches over there on the far sideline, so they don't have them set yet.
2 timeouts for Florida State.
Preston Parker's checked back in, guys, limp and all. Ponder. Now he's in trouble and the ball is out. Picked up by one of his linemen, though. Andrew Datko, the left tackle, saved. A big problem there for the Seminoles.
And Florida State takes a timeout.
Jimbo Fisher, the head coach in waiting, an offensive coordinator out there to talk to his quarterback. That could have been a disaster. Jermaine Cunningham's a good guy. It's going to come around the corner. Boop, there goes the ball. Datko, the guy he got around, was in a good spot. So Florida State with the timeout. 2nd down and 14 upcoming.
He's had a young offensive line. In fact, it is the youngest offensive line in the country. 3 true freshmen and 2 sophomores. This is the youngest overall team that Bobby Bowden has had in all of his years at Florida State.
Those 2 sophomores were freshman All-Americans last year. A couple of the ones this year probably will be, and next year they'll be pretty darn good up there.
Oh, for sure.
So 2nd and 14. Preston Parker is in the slot on the right side. He's been the favorite receiver of Ponder in the last 6 games. Found him. Did he get his foot down? Nope, he's out of bounds. Number 5 was playing number 5. Joe Hayden was out there. Parker had it, but he couldn't get a foot down before he hit the sideline.
He needed to get him the ball a little bit quicker. As soon as he got outside the pocket, give it to Parker before he runs too close to the sideline.
So now 3rd down and 14. There aren't many in the playbook for this. And basically they almost need most of it to even try a field goal. Especially with the rain coming down again, rather heavy. Ponder, screen pass, got it to Smith. Smith, blockers in front. He's got the 1st down. Anton Smith with 11 seconds remaining. Major Wright brought him down, but now they are in field goal range. But they'll have another crack at it here. They're apparently going to spike it and think about it and save the timeout and maybe try one more play. There's the spike. Clock stops. Whoops, it's still going. And the fans aren't crazy about that. They got to reset the clock to about 9 seconds, I think.
That was an excellent call, though. You throw a little screen pass, and there's a whole lot of things can happen. You're really already out of field goal range, and if the thing does work like it did there, you get your 1st down, you got a chance to at least maybe pick up 3.
Clock to 8 seconds. 8 seconds.
Well, that still might have been about one less, but it's more than what they've got now. Grease, do you try one to Carr on a fade in the corner and then kick the field goal?
You got 8 seconds. You better throw it quick to him. I don't. Can you run a play into the end zone in less than 8 seconds?
You got Florida speed, you can. I don't know if Carr and Sorensen, those guys, can cover 23 yards in that much time or not.
Well, they better do it quickly.
Ponder. Better not ponder much longer. Throws it up and out of bounds.
Yeah, threw it out of bounds.
And now they will try the field goal, I'm sure. Gano has hit 3 already. They'll ask him for a little more out of this one.
You got to give credit to this defense of Urban Meyer. Not only is their offense good, but their defense is 3rd in the nation in scoring defense.
Urban Meyer trying to sell to the officials, watch out for holding, because this is a great kick blocking team he's got out there on the field. Gano has hit 3 already. He'll try from 41 to end the half. Up's a fake. Gano. Oh, boy. I don't know. That's not the way you want to go to the locker room, I'll tell you that much. We saw one of those backfire in the Nebraska-Colorado game yesterday. That one ends the half. Let's go down to Rob.
Coach, what will you do with Percy Harvin in the second half?
I'm going to find out. I don't know.
You haven't had much experience with the 2-minute offense this season so far. What were your impressions of it?
I thought Tim did a great job. I thought our offense line did a great job. They gave him time to throw, and Tim managed very well.
Biggest concern as you head into the locker room?
Oh, just 30 minutes of big-time football against a very talented team. We got to just keep playing.
Coach, appreciate you joining us live. Thank you.
So they're trying to win their 5th straight over the Seminoles. They've got a head start, don't they? 28-9 at the break.
This is ESPN Rivalry Week, presented by Samsung Mobile.
ESPN's presentation of college football on ABC, presented by Best Buy from a soaked Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee, Florida, just about set to start the 3rd quarter. And it's all Gators right now at the break, 28-9. Florida State unable to take advantage of a couple of opportunities with both great field position or the turnover, the fumble. And they have only field goals to show for it. So they're going to have to put some spark in things offensively in the second half, or they're going to lose for the 5th straight time to the folks from Gainesville. Starting the 3rd quarter, the good news for the Noles, they'll get the football first. Caleb Sturgis has got the ball teed up. Michael Ray Garvin and Taiwan Easterling are back deep. And it's number 29 that you have to look out for. He's had a couple of beauties already today, including a 52-yarder. They'll probably try to keep it away from him. Well, that's one way to keep it away from him. Knock it out of bounds, as that's the 2nd time that's happened today, and they'll take over with good field position at the 40-yard line. You got to think, out in the lobby back here, somebody said to me, remember 94? It was the old ball coach, had a big lead, and then back came Danny Cannell and company. And Cannell even did it himself, rushing for a touchdown. And the miracle comeback, 31-31. For Florida fans, they called it the choke at Doak. Well, if you're a Florida State fan, you hope that something like that could happen today, I guess.
That's about one of the only things you can grab onto at this point.
Preston Parker is in the lineup. He was injured in the first half and has come back out there, and that's not the way to start the 3rd quarter. Brandon Spikes on the interception. And down to the 20-yard line. And boy, if you didn't need something on the first play of the 3rd quarter, you didn't need that.
Boy, I'm telling you, he threw the ball right to Brandon Spikes. You got to be able to see this guy. He's getting only, he's in a white shirt. You got a big red shirt on. I mean, when you take a look at where he throws it, I mean, Spikes doesn't have to move. Watch. He's going to go out, sit. Here comes the ball.
Never saw him, Paul.
Never saw him, huh?
No,
he never saw him. As big as that linebacker is, at number 51, never saw him. That's Spike's 4th interception on the year, and 2 of them he's run back for touchdowns.
I think had he not slipped, he might have had a 3rd right there.
He was thinking it.
And when did they go for the big play right here from the 20-yard line after the turnover? Tebow, play action. Down the middle they did, and almost intercepted by Tony Carter. That could have given it right back to the Seminoles. Lewis Murphy was the intended receiver. Well, talk about fireworks in the first 16 seconds of the third quarter, huh?
Little slant route. Carter, ball was thrown a little bit behind.
Yep.
Carter had a chance to knock it out, but all that good stuff that went on at halftime in the Florida State locker room about let's go out and get a long drive and score went up in one play.
Emmanuel Moody's got the cleanest jersey. He's the tailback in the backfield with Tebow. Oh man, what a collision. The ball is out. I think Tebow got back on top of it, but Justin Mincy said hello to everybody. I don't even know who was going to get the ball. He didn't care. He just took them both out.
This where you don't even fake the handoff.
Yeah. Urban on the sideline. One of the dominant things in this ball game is the defensive line of Florida State. Talking to the Florida coaches, they said these guys just come off the ball, and they really have shown that today.
You know, if they can force Florida to a field goal, it's a victory of sorts here after the big interception. 3rd and long for Tebow. Here comes the pressure again. Throws in the end zone, touchdown. Lewis Murphy. Tim Tebow's 3rd touchdown pass of the day.
How can Lewis Murphy be this wide open? I mean, when you look, watch what Tebow sees. He's looking to his left first. Look at Murphy. Nobody stays with him. Safety goes into the middle of the field, and here, look at how wide open he is. Not even close to him.
Jonathan Phillips, a busy extra point kicker today. 35-9.
Well, the Heisman Trophy vote's coming up. I think Tim Tebow
he's back in the hunt.
Is working his way back up near the top 3. I mean, what more can he do? He's got his team. You know, he's done. This year is not as good as last year, but how could it be?
One of the Florida captains, Lewis Murphy, with a touchdown catch. Moments ago, his 6th of the year, has made it 35-9. This time they keep the kick in the field of play to Michael Garvin at the 10. Garvin, 35 and out to the 38-yard line. He is a nifty kick returner. And we got a new quarterback coming in, and Drew Weatherford, the senior. Let's check in with Rob Stone. Rob?
Well, at halftime, I talked with Jimbo Fisher, the offensive coordinator for FSU, and he confirmed to me that Christian Ponder did have a back injury leading up to this game, had a couple good days of practice. That's why they went with him, but he was still a question at kick time. He told me also, hey, any hesitation, there will be no hesitation to go with Drew Weatherford at some point today. Also, guys, on the Florida sideline, Percy Harvin is done for the day with that right ankle injury.
All right, Rob, so Drew Weatherford starts and stumbles back in to that throw and almost had it picked off by Janoris Jenkins.
Yeah, that's not on the quarterback. The route, the receiver's got to run a decent route.
So Drew Weatherford, who was the starter and played the entire game last year against Florida, is in a tough spot. And Christian Ponder now the guy that's signaling the plays in with the headset.
Ponder set out a couple days of practice and then got in some practice late during the week.
Anton Smith with Weatherford in the shotgun. 2nd down and 10. And he'll give it up to Anton, and he goes down at the line of scrimmage. Maybe got a yard. Here with just a minute and a half gone in the 3rd quarter, we take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. Statistically, look at the total yardage for Florida, 332. And when they get in the red zone, we talked about it, they know what to do when they get in the red zone. They score.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Florida State, when they got down in Gator territory, they had to settle for 3-pointers. So Tim Tebow doesn't settle for 3-pointers. He gets touchdowns. And he's thrown free and run for 1 today. And as Bob said, if his name isn't in the Heisman mix now, there's something wrong. Weatherford fires in and out of the hands of Corey Surency. And Florida State has not helped. Their receivers today have not helped their quarterbacks. That's the 3rd drop.
I'm going to tell you what, you guys mentioned this guy in the first half. Janoris Jenkins, a true freshman. Boy, you right about him, Grease. I mean, this guy is all over the place.
And I would be wary punting down to the other end as you take a look from Skycam's angle of Graham Gano. But that little white dot way back down there, that's Brandon James. Thanks, Grease. And he's dangerous. He's going to field it at the 15. Whole bunch of garnet and gold around him. Can he get around it? He did. Nice return. Only about 10, but that shows what he can do. Florida's got it back with a big, big lead here in the third quarter when we come back.
This presentation of college football brought to you by the Volkswagen Signed in Drive event. German engineering for practically just a signature. Samsung Mobile, proud sponsor of ESPN Rivalry Week. And College Game Day is built by the Home Depot. You can do it, we can help.
Seminole Warrior statue in front of Doak Campbell Stadium honors the unconquered spirit of the Seminole. They light that spear before every home game on Friday night. This home game's not going the way they had planned, and here comes a big opener for Chris Rainey. Rainey, great speed, might be gone all the way to the 13-yard line. Tony Carter saved the touchdown.
You know, I'll bet you that they have run that play 10 times in this ball game with different running backs, and watch how quick they get to the hole.
Just straight blocking by the offensive line up front. He just hands him the ball. Percy Harvin is out. All right, we'll go to the next guy. Go to Rainey or go to Demps. They've got that speed. I mean, they're gonna miss Percy Harvin, but not as much as some people may think.
All the way down on a 62-yard run to the 12-yard line of Florida State. Now Tebow takes over. Play action. Tebow rolling to throw to the end zone. Incomplete. Intended for Carl Moore. You know, I mentioned about Chris Rainey earlier that he outran Jeffrey Demps outside the campus dorm earlier this year. Not only that, this summer he went back to his hometown in Lakeland and he ran into Noel Devine, the little guy from West Virginia.
Right.
Walmart parking lot. He beat Devine too.
No way.
Yeah.
Huh?
Can't
I don't
these
know.
guys run a track somewhere?
I don't know that you'd think they could find a facility other than the Walmart parking lot, but you know what? I'd pay to see that.
I would too. That West Virginia guy can run.
So second down at the 12. Tebow asking for it in the shotgun. Keeps it himself, trying to spin away and can't. Nice job by Derek Nicholson, the leading tackler for Florida State, to make the stop. We understand Baylor is maybe pulling the stunner of the day over Texas Tech, and boy, would that shake everything up.
Again, what that does, for those of you just joining us, that would make it a two-way tie in the Big 12 South between Texas and Oklahoma, considering Oklahoma wins tonight. And that would give the tiebreaker has Texas onto the championship game.
See, everybody discounted that. That's why we play all the games.
But Texas Tech has got a high-powered offense.
Yep, that one ain't over. BC still leading Maryland, by the way, 14-7. Tebow lofts it to the corner of the end zone. Two guys there. Maybe have been a mix-up in having David Nelson and the guy that almost caught it, Chris Rainey, in the same spot.
Well, the problem with that play is when you get both receivers like that in the same spot, you end up with three defensive backs.
Yeah.
And it's got to be an absolute perfect pass in order for it to work, which it wasn't, and it didn't.
What a good job Urban Meyer has done since he got to Florida.
You got that right. Jonathan Phillips doesn't get an opportunity to kick field goals that often, but he is perfect on the year.
Yeah.
This one will be from 29 yards away. And he knows what to do with it when he gets a chance, doesn't he? 10 for 10. 29-yarder. And now it is 38-9. Florida out in front. You think about this week in college football history here in late November. Florida State blew a big lead. Florida just closed the gap. Charlie Ward to Warwick Dunn. And here it comes from Keith Jackson. Florida State.
Mail the Heisman to Charlie Ward.
Bob Greasy. They didn't mail it to him, but they took him up to New York and gave it to him.
There you go.
One of two Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks. Warwick Dunn, of course, a great player here and with the Atlanta Falcons, and now back with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he's still playing ball. Boston College has extended the lead on a fake field goal, we understand. It's 21-7, and the Eagles are about a quarter and a half from punching their ticket to Tampa, and that would be a rematch of last year's ACC championship game, Boston College, Virginia Tech. So nothing's going right for the Florida State fans right now.
Well, that's true. What a great job Coach Jagosinski has done since he's gotten to Boston College.
You got that right. Garvin from the 11. He's been their best weapon today. Garvin out across the 40 and out to about the 42-yard line. Matt Weiner's going to let us know, I think, how they scored. Matt?
Absolutely. SportsCenter right now is powered by Vizio. First, let's get you updated on Alabama on their way to the SEC championship game. No, it's Boston College. Fake field goal. Billy Flutie to Jordan McMichael there. Deep into the playbook. Here's Alabama. J.P. Wilson to Nikita Stover, 39 yards, and the Tide taking care of their business on the way to the SEC title game, leading 16-0 in the third quarter.
Well, if that holds up, it'll be Alabama and this high-scoring Gator crew at the Georgia Dome. And what a game that might be. Weatherford in trouble, hit as he throws, and the ball.
People talk about playoffs, and you know, we're in the playoffs right now.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, Texas Tech, Texas, Oklahoma, they got to win or they lose their opportunity. And next week's game, Alabama and Florida, the winner is going to go to the national championship game.
Urban Meyer knows that. Every time you try to talk to him about it, he'll do an end around. He won't give you an answer at all.
Talk about it. It's like a semifinal game. You win that game, you go into Miami for the championship game.
Weatherford stops things as his tight end Porowski was in motion. Now sets up to throw. Completes it. Forward progress out near midfield to Greg Carr. A pickup of about 8. Let's take a look at our Dr. Pepper ACC updates. Georgia Tech shocks Georgia between the hedges. Clemson, big win over the ball coach in South Carolina. We mentioned the Boston College game. Vandy and Wake later tonight. NC State a winner over Miami. Virginia Tech's going to Tampa to the ACC championship game, and North Carolina and Duke are in the third quarter.
How about NC State?
Boy, I tell you, that little quarterback they got, and they got a good coach, and they're hotter than anybody in the conference almost.
Tom O'Brien bringing them back.
Devontae Richardson's in at quarterback for Florida State. That usually means a run, and in this case, a first down run.
You know the thing that's impressing me the most about this football game? We talked about all the hype of Florida's scoring power and all the weapons that Tim Tebow had, and Florida State's weapons. But Florida's defense has been outstanding. I mean, they've given the ball to Florida State and deep in their territory and then stopped them, only holding these guys to field goals.
And last year, all these guys that are playing this year were playing as true freshmen and sophomore. There are no seniors in the 2 deep on this Florida defensive team. They got no seniors at all.
Richardson drops back, gets rid of it just in time, and it's in the hands of Rod Owens. And Owens is inside the 30. You talk about the Florida defense. They've given up 1 rushing touchdown in the last 5.5 games. I mean, they just don't give in either. So Devontae Richardson doesn't throw often, but he got rid of this one to Owens just in time, and Owens has got it down for a first down. 9:37 remaining third quarter. ESPN's presentation of college football on ABC, presented in high definition from Doak Campbell Stadium. Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, Paul McGuire, Rob Stone, and the Gators in control. Florida State, though, trying to drive and score with 9:25 remaining in the third quarter. High backfield, we haven't seen much of that today. And Jermaine Thomas gets the call, and Thomas inside the 20. Down close to the 15-yard line. Major Wright made the tackle. They really like this kid. Not only has speed, but he's got size. He's 6'1" and about 185.
Jimbo Fisher was telling us yesterday he really likes this true freshman Thomas, and he said he got another guy, Jones, a true freshman, that is back and healthy for this game. A lot of guys coming back on this young Florida State team next year.
Well, it's Thomas' load to carry because Anton Smith went out injured earlier in the ball game. Haven't seen him come back yet. It's Thomas again, dragging tacklers down to the 10-yard line. You can catch a dramatic conclusion of the LG Skins game on ABC tomorrow afternoon. It's on at 3:30 Eastern time. Phil Mickelson, the defending champ of that.
You getting any of those big games, those big skin games, Paul?
Yeah.
I know you like to bet on those things.
50 cents.
50 cents.
50 cents a hole, huh? Well, right now, Choi's the guy that's getting all the money. $200,000 carryover to the 10th hole.
Stephen Ames is the one that's done it in the past. He's got a 2-year record going.
Weatherford in the gun from the 10. Throws. Nice catch by Reed, and he spins for a 1st and goal at the 5-yard line. Flag down, though.
You know, one thing, Reese was talking about how young Florida's defense is, how all these young guys are in the back. But you take a look at Florida State's offensive line with the 3 true freshmen up there and 2 sophomores. These guys, I mean, these 2 teams next year, just next year, are going to be outstanding.
Offside. Defense 95. The penalty is declined. First down.
Joe Hayden must have been lined up with his receiver offside to be a cornerback. And they decline the penalty, and it's 1st and goal.
Those guys try to get away with that stuff.
Yeah, get up there as close as you can.
Yeah, you can't do that. You got to stay on your side of the line of scrimmage.
Just outside the Gator 4.
Stay on that side of the blue line.
Weatherford trying to direct Florida State's first touchdown drive of the day. Thomas, right side, touchdown. Jermaine Thomas.
There's a flag down.
I think it's going to be against Florida, though.
Yes.
They jumped in the neutral zone again, and they'll decline that. And finally, Florida State's got a touchdown. Jermaine Thomas from 4 yards out. Band hasn't had much chance to play, have they? Gano in for the point after.
They got all their instruments are all wet.
Oh, and it's that kind of day, I guess. Extra point is blocked. And that's the first time that's happened all year to Gano. Told you this is a great kick blocking team.
Yep, you're right.
That's what, the 8th kick they blocked this year?
That's
Florida?
right. They don't take a play off, do they?
No, they do not.
Here's another look at the touchdown. Jermaine Thomas, that counter off the right side, just bulls his way in there. And then just to show you the misery of the day, be it weather or scoreboard, a guy that hadn't missed hardly any kicks all year, a couple of field goals, but they were both long ones. And here comes Florida to block the extra point.
He kicked that low. He's up for the Groza. He's one of what, 3 finalists?
Well, right now, Florida, a very hot team, going to Atlanta to play Alabama next week. You talk about who's hot and who's not. Bob, who you got on there?
Oregon State. They're playing Oregon. They win today. They go to the Rose Bowl. Utah and Ball State both finished 12-0 undefeated. How about Ole Miss?
Yeah.
And the Mountain West with Utah, TCU, and the other ones.
How about the Knot?
How about the Knots? Notre Dame, State of Washington, Auburn, LSU. How about LSU? How about Loyola, the basketball team, Loyola, Maryland? Do you know what they did?
They put 2 guys on Stephen Curry, right?
Put 2 guys on Stephen Curry the whole game. They didn't care they lose by 30 points. But Stephen Curry didn't score a point.
Well, Stephen's average went down, but I don't think he cares.
It worked. They shut him out.
Onside kick, Florida State. Did they get it? They might. Battle on the bottom. Let's unpile the bodies. Florida Florida's got it.
Yes, can I just say something about the Stephon Curry thing? I watched the highlight the other night. They showed the guy, they covering two guys on him. He was taking the ball out of bounds, and they had two guys standing in front of him. And he was out of bounds. He was handing the ball in.
Stephen, one of the great shooters, three-point shooters and scorers, and he'll be a great NBA player trying to play a transition to be a point guard at the next level. So he's going to play both positions this year. Doesn't expect to see two guys on him every night, though.
Yeah. Here comes the rain again, boys.
Here comes the rain again. At the 46. Tebow. Deep ball, sideline. Oh, just over the outstretched arms of Deontay Thompson.
This is unbelievable how well he can throw that ball.
In this slop.
In this, and it's coming down hard again. He came out about an hour and a half before the game. We're talking about Tebow, and he had a tight-fitting t-shirt, Florida t-shirt on. I'll tell you what, he was having fun. He was catching passes from the backup quarterback, Brantley, and just having a good old time.
Yep.
And you know what? He's not leaving for the NFL this year. He's going to be back and stay. He's having too much fun.
Would the national championship make that a difference? Or a back-to-back Heisman, would that make a difference? Here comes Jeffrey Demps, down to the 24-yard line. And Tony Carter gets up limping after trying to make that tackle, or actually making the tackle.
This is like going on all game. Okay, let's first down. Let's throw a deep one. See if we can hit one. We don't. Okay, now we'll just hand the ball off and go right up the middle. We'll pick up 25 yards.
So now Tony Carter shaken up. Grease, how about Tim Tebow at the next level in the NFL, be it next year or the year after?
Well, that's why I think he needs to stay in school. He's not redshirted. He's a third-year junior. He's played last year and this year. He needs to stay. He's a dominant player at this level, and he needs to work on a lot of things in his passing game. Quicker decisions, getting the ball out. He's got good feet, but he knows how. He needs how to make all the different throws.
And if you just look at, which I really agree with you, if you just look at the team that he's going to have next year, he can't get anything but better.
Yeah.
Well, guys, here's what Todd McShay of ESPN Scouts Inc. said about Tebow's NFL aspirations. His release, way too slow. Once the DBs pick it up, they'll feast on him. Secondly, he won't get those huge passing windows that he sees here at Florida. And third, Alex Smith's lack of success at the next level is going to hurt Tebow because of the parallels in their game and system.
Well, that's a good point, because Urban Meyer and Mullen were out there.
Here's a direct snap to Murphy. He wants to throw the football and throws it wisely away. They split Tebow from the shotgun out into the slot on the right side and direct snap it. That's about the fourth guy that's taken a snap today, I think, and only one of them's a quarterback. Well, Bob mentioned it earlier about Heisman trophies and our ballots. I haven't even opened mine yet in the FedEx envelope, but most schools have had great success at quarterbacks. I don't know if he should have won. I think maybe Bob Greasy should have won that year. But anyway, Danny Werfel and Tim Tebow last year, the first sophomore, obviously, to do so. Charlie won it here at Florida State in '93 and Chris Wenke in 2000. So a lot of great quarterback play in the history of these two universities. Here's Tebow on the keeper. He's got the first down. Now, when you talk about this year's Heisman, and as I said, the ballots arrived at our homes this week. Time to think about it. You don't have to have it in till December 10th, but we kind of threw our own group together, and we think somewhere out of that there's going to be a guy.
Well, the top four are quarterbacks. The bottom two are receivers.
And what's the one interesting thing about Graham Harrell, you guys?
He is the only senior.
You got it.
Of all of the guys in the finals, in our finals, Graham Harrell is the only senior.
First and 10 at the 12. Florida threatening again already with a 38-15 lead. Tebow's going to keep it. Switches the ball to his right hand, puts a stiff arm out there and goes out of bounds as Todrick Burdell knocked him out after a pickup of 5.
I don't have a vote, but I'll tell you who I kind of pick right now, and a guy I really like is Colt McCoy.
Yep.
I mean, I just, you watch him operate, and I just think the world of this guy. The distance he's traveled, is unbelievable.
He's hard not to like.
Especially he's their leading rusher on top of being the quarterback that he is.
Right.
And he had a big Thanksgiving Day game over A&M.
Yes, he did.
2nd down and 5. Florida knocking on the Seminole door again. Tebow rides his man and gives it off. Moody got it down to maybe the 2. And you hear the chants of Moody from some of the Florida fans here. Just another one of the weapons that they have in that backfield.
That was one of the interesting things I was going to try, and I was asking around to see how many Florida fans would be here today. What does the stadium seat?
82,000.
82,000. I mean, how many Gator fans would be able to get into the ball game?
There's quite a bit of orange and blue out there.
Well, yeah, but that's Parkas.
That's oh, come on.
No. That's
you want to run a Parka?
Yeah.
3rd down and short. Tebow straight ahead, diving for the 1st down, it appears.
Looks like it.
Justin Mincy got him, but I don't think he got him in time, and that's going to be 1st and goal.
If the rain's coming down and you only got one parka, and if you're an FSU fan and it's blue, you're putting it on.
Well, they spotted that thing short, didn't they?
It is short. It's not a 1st down.
So it's 4th down. Florida State would love to come up with a stand here defensively. Tim Tebow has a look at that wristband. It might say number 15, go again. We'll find out in a second. They're pretty good on 4th down conversions. 4th. And timeout taken by Tebow. Didn't like the look of either his group or what he saw on the other side. 4:05 remaining in the 3rd quarter. And a decision coming up as Bobby Bowden looks up at that scoreboard wishing that his team had more points. Well, tomorrow at 8/7 Central, he spent his life caring for the sick but couldn't save his own. We'll celebrate a hero's life by giving his family the new start to a dream life. Extreme Makeover Home Edition, all new tomorrow, 8/7 Central on ABC. You know, you talk about the Florida fans here, the Florida State fans here. Sometimes this separates families. You know, you can get divorced over this kind of deal. I ran into Jeff Province and his wife Jamie last night, Jamie Davis Province. She went to Florida. He went to Florida State. They're really having a lot of marital problems. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You better let go of that one.
Yeah, but I will say about Jeff, he outkicked his coverage by about 2 miles.
I saw what you meant.
Isn't he beautiful? You know, it really is amazing about Florida. We were talking yesterday and the day before, Greasy, talking about all the weapons that Tebow has, all the little toys he has. You know how many different guys, I'm just sitting and listening to the different names that Ness has mentioned that's either touched the ball, had the ball thrown to them, or they had blocking. I mean, it's just unbelievable the number of people they use.
Now they've got Estepinen in there too, the big guy in front of Tebow. 4th and a yard, that's who he follows, and they're not going to let him get there. Nice stand by the Knoll defense and Mickey Andrews' crew. Seminoles take over on downs.
I just think Tebow should have stayed outside. If he stayed outside to his left, I think he might have been able to get the 1st down.
93, the tight end is Estepinen. He was the tip-off. They were going to run the ball, and they were going to run it right behind him.
Nice play by Derek Nicholson, and he's made a lot of them in his career at Florida State, that's for sure.
Well, that just cost Tebow the Heisman.
Hardly.
I doubt it.
Here's a bad spot
Only
for
kidding.
Florida State's offense at its own 5-yard line. Drew Weatherford in at quarterback, in his own end zone to throw. Oh no. Flags. This might be a helmet-to-helmet personal foul hit on Janoris Jenkins. He just lit up Jermaine Thomas on a swing pass in the end zone. We're going to wait and see what Ron Cherry has to say, because I'm not quite sure. Well, he didn't say it, but
I think you called it.
Well, that flag came out in a hurry, just as you said, Ness. I mean, as soon as that hit was made, the flag came. Jenkins, I mean, you talk about timing something perfectly. This ball is up in the air, and he's hanging him out to dry. But look at this. He went helmet to helmet.
Watch the Florida State player's helmet jerk back.
See, in the NFL, that's a lot of money.
You know, the freshmen, the true freshmen will learn from that. But it's amazing how quickly Jenkins recognized what was happening and got up there and did something about it.
What else is going to do is going to tell a whole bunch of other teams that play Florida that Jenkins is going to pop you.
Oh, for sure.
So it moves it out to the 20-yard line on the 15-yard walk-off. Weatherford, plenty of time. Deep ball near sideline. Caught by Fortson. Nice throw. Jarman Fortson, another freshman. Big target, 6'3", and Weatherford put it right where he had to.
This may be the best pass of the entire evening. Just take a look where Weatherford put this ball. Fortson's the only one that has a chance to catch the football. He was out, he stretched out, and made the catch. That was perfect.
Weatherford is a fifth-year senior who has started 33 games as a Seminole.
This isn't his first goat race. He's been around the block.
He's only thrown 2 passes coming into the ball game tonight, this year.
Jermaine Thomas wrapped up after a pickup of maybe a yard. Jermaine Cunningham, 49, the first guy to meet him. Cunningham has a couple of words with Weatherford as he passes by.
Weatherford has not played much this year.
Nope.
When Jimbo Fisher made the decision to go with Christian Ponder, and Bobby Bowden agreed with him, Weatherford was the guy that came off the field when Ponder went on.
And in this case, Weatherford came off the field, and Devontae Richardson comes on the field. He's got 4 wideouts, 5 make it on second down. And it's going to be a quarterback draw all the way. Florida knows that for the most part, that when he's in there, he's going to be running the football. Let's check in with Matt Weiner in New York. Matt.
All right, Brad, SportsCenter in game on what's happening at Boston College. Maryland has closed the gap against BC. Chris Turner here to Danny Oquendo in the corner of the end zone. 13 yards. Terps now trail by 7, but Boston College now less than a quarter away from clinching the ACC Atlantic if they can hang on.
All right, Matt, thanks. Keep us updated. Here, 2:07 left, third quarter. Our game's going a little bit slower than theirs is. But it's heating up for Florida State at this point with a 3rd down and 7. This is a big 3rd down for them. Weatherford. Caught. No. Oh, he bobbled it. It was Fortson again. Had his hands on it. Well, do you go for it on 4th down here, Gris?
Well, for sure. You go for it for sure.
And that was Brandon Hicks who makes the play, and he's a linebacker and safety. These guys intertwine. But take a look at it. It's pretty good coverage. That ball's right on target, man.
And there you see it slips out of his hands. So he had the foot down, but the football didn't stay where he wanted it. Now it's 4th down. 4th and 7. Big collision intended for the tight end, Paraski, and Hicks is there to make the play again. Florida takes over on downs, much as the Noles did moments ago.
It's good, solid defense. These defensive backs, they recognize routes, they overplay it.
And you're going to see Hicks again, number 40. He's in there. This guy's a pretty good player now.
It's only his 4th game he started, so he's learning on the job, and he's getting better every week. And now number 15 takes over again. 38-15, a minute 43 in the 3rd. Chris Rainey there as you look behind Tim Tebow with him in the backfield. And he gets the call. Tough yardage for Rainey. Picked up about 6 on the carry. Got a who am I for you guys. Gator alum and future NFL Hall of Famer. I had 5 sacks in the game against Florida State back in '69. Who would I be?
5 sacks.
He's a guy that chased Reese around the NFL a little bit too with the Los Angeles Rams. Jack Youngblood. Jack, 5 sacks, and he was a kicker as well as a defensive end for the Gators. Went on to a great career in the NFL. One of the real tough guys. Remember when he played the playoff game with a broken leg?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Was he a kicker like Grease when you had 1 kick?
Yeah, straight ahead. Flags down.
False start. 57. Offense.
He's mad at me, Des.
He's been mad at you since Thursday.
I left him. Didn't wait for him on the elevator. Boy, you carry a grudge a long time.
He really does.
Yeah.
He goes to his room and pouts.
Hey. What do you mean?
Last one to dinner. Second. First one to push the tab. Second down and 9.
Getting a bad rap here.
Rightfully so.
Randy again. Dimps, beg your pardon. Get the two confused. 3 and 2.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Ness, I just love the way these guys, I mean, they kind of just like wander through the hole. I mean, they just take their time. They're not in a hurry to do anything. When the hole is there right away, they've got that quick step. But when they have to kind of wait on the block, they have the patience to wait.
As we mentioned, Dimps, #1 in the country in rushing per attempt, 9.6. Rainey's at 7.5. And then there's Tim Tebow, who gets usually the tough yardage, much like a fullback. They end at 3. Well, it's going to take a miracle comeback for the Noles on their home field, or they're going to lose for the 5th straight time to that Gator chomp. Gators looking to keep their hopes for the BCS alive. They're up big at the end of 3 quarters in Tallahassee. We start the 4th quarter. Florida in control on the road, 38-15. And they do have to punt to start the 4th quarter. Chaz Henry, what's he punted once today? This is number 2. Burt Reed is back deep. Snap a little wide. He just goes that way and puts it out to the right. And it'll roll dead down inside the 20-yard line. About a 38-yard kick and no return. So we're just 10 seconds into the 4th quarter as Jimbo Fisher talks things over with Drew Weatherford, his 5th-year senior quarterback, who had a good-looking drive on the last time. I guess they hope for more of the same right here.
You know, you got to score points. You know, Florida's got theirs now. You know, the momentum might be changing a little bit, but somebody's got to make some plays.
Like you said, that Florida defense is tough to make plays against.
Oh, I think they're playing extremely well. And you get young guys we're talking about that are maybe starting their 3rd and 4th game. They're all stepping up. And it's going to be amazing, Ness, at how good these two teams are going to be next year.
So here's Weatherford with the throw in and out. Another drop pass. Carr might have been a little bit behind him, but certainly catchable. We understand Texas Tech has tied Baylor at 28. Still quite a bit of football to go there. That's the game that could shake up the whole, at least the Big 12 picture, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, and they're playing at home, too, right? Tech is, yeah.
Here, Florida trying to make it 5 in a row. It would be the longest winning streak since 6 straight over the Noles from 1981 to 1986. And Florida State's going to have to do something about it in a hurry if they're going to change things. Weatherford in trouble. Got rid of the ball. Almost picked off by Janoris Jenkins.
Well, you know, Janoris, how many times you called this kid's name? I mean,
he's around the ball a lot.
Man, and he is a true freshman. I know you heard this before, folks, but it's true. This is a true freshman. This guy, you talk about a future ahead of him. He's got 2 interceptions so far this year and 1 sack.
You know, where he's from, they chase rabbits with their bare hands down there in the sugarcane fields, and they're pretty quick.
That's what you said. He was pretty quick.
Pahokee? Pahokee, Florida. People out there think I'm kidding. I'm not, folks. That's real. Weatherford slip back. Kind of a throwback screen and in and out of the hands of Fortson. That's 5 drop passes. You got to take advantage of every opportunity when you're playing a team this good and it's a rivalry game and you're at home. And quite frankly, Florida State's not taking advantage of anything.
Well, they didn't. It started out that way.
Yeah.
They were dropping balls on the first possession.
They had great position in a couple of right off the bat, and they ended up with field goals and not 7 points, too.
You know who's gotten them their field goals, also punting with penalty markers down here.
You know, it's not how tall you are or how fast you are. or how good you look in a uniform. It's can you hold on to the ball and how productive can you be.
12 through the snap, false start, 41, offense.
How many times have you heard a coach say, you know, there's only one thing I ask you to do, son, is catch the ball. Catch it!
And execution is another word used by a lot of the coaches we talked to this week, and Jimbo Fisher is telling Jarman Fortson, catch the ball. Now Gano from his own end zone. High snap. And a line drive, one hopper taken by Brandon James. And James got the corner and tiptoed out. And there might be a flag flying in on the end of this one. There is. That won't help the Seminole defensive cause because they're going to tack on 15 to this.
There's another Gator hurt on about the 32-yard line.
That's Pierre Lewis on the special teams.
We've seen a lot of guys go down.
We have, and the field's got something to do with it, I'm sure.
Dead ball, personal foul, 46 of the kicking team. 15 yards been added to the end of the run.
So they're going to have great field position. It doesn't matter where Florida's gotten the ball today. If they need to go 86 yards, they'll go 86 yards. If they need to go 28 yards, they'll go 28 yards. And that's the reason right there, because as Mickey Andrews says, you can say all you want about Tim Tebow, but the fact is he's the general.
You know, and you think about it now, Urban Meyer and his football team, Bob, they came in here, and you know, Florida State, big rivalry with these guys. But the thing about it is they got Alabama next week. I mean, they've got the really big game next week to get them into the finals, and they haven't slowed up a bit. I mean, they're not playing like we're going to play just to win or not to lose.
They set up shop at the Florida State 25-yard line. Play action, Tebow. Tim is throwing to the end zone, in and out of the hands of a diving Lewis Murphy. Right now, let's take a look, Bob, at our Best Buy playbook.
Well, you hear everybody talk about cover two, cover two. What is cover two defense? Right here, two deep safeties going to defense. That allows you, when the offense runs down these short routes, to have 5 or 6 guys defensively across the field. What do? Top left of your screen, you just go straight down the sideline, and the receiver catches the ball.
That's the best that you've done with those little bubbles in a long time.
I think those little red numbers are nice.
Here's Tebow on the option. Late pitch, going to be a big loss. Demps brought down by Kendall Smith. Good job by Smith, the sophomore outside linebacker. So it's going to bring up third down and a whole bunch. Third and about 16. Make it 18. The ball back now to the 33-yard line. It'll be Demps in there with Tebow in the Florida backfield. Hernandez, the tight end, in motion. Tebow flushed, throws incomplete, intended for Hernandez, and will be fourth down.
Hernandez is the one that's really been a thorn in the side of the Seminoles today.
2 touchdown catches for Hernandez. Sophomore out of Bristol, Connecticut. I wonder if he grew up in the shadows of ESPN.
That's a good question.
He's got 4 catches for 61 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Well,
tight end.
And they lost their number 1 tight end.
Right.
Ingram went down with an ACL in his knee.
Cornelius Ingram was one of their seniors and a captain. In fact, tore his left ACL back in fall camp.
Hernandez was, like you said, an outstanding tight end coming out of high school. So they haven't dropped off much. I'm sure they miss Ingram, but Hernandez has really stepped up.
Well, Urban Meyer has said that he wants to have the fastest team in football, and I think he's got it.
Well, they took a delay of game here because they want to back it up so that they can punt.
Did you like that when people did that to you?
What?
I mean, when you did that, when your team backed it up so you had a little more room to kick the punt?
Yeah, but I kicked the ball out of bounds inside the 10 every time.
Every time?
It
didn't really matter.
Yeah, I heard guys talking about records. And Greasy, you're a Hall of Famer. The only record I ever had in the AFL, which is a great record, I punted more than anyone in the history of the AFL. That gave you an idea of all the bad teams I played on, okay? It's true.
Well, Chaz Henry will try a Paul McGuire punt. How did he do? Oh, about that much too much.
Yeah, standing in the end zone. It's about.
Oh, I should have pulled that string a little bit more.
It's about 3 feet too far.
Gator cheerleaders are happy. Their team up 38-15. Devontre Richardson in at quarterback for the Seminoles. They work from their own 20-yard line. Throwing all the way this time, and it's intercepted by Jenkins. Well, he's been camped out back there waiting for one, and he finally got it.
What great recognition by that young defensive back, Jenkins. We've been talking about him all day.
And this is why Devontre Richardson probably doesn't throw a lot, too. Not a great choice. Trying to get it to Burt Reed. So that's a third pick of the year for the freshman that we've been talking about all day long.
He recognized what was coming. He was a short outside zone, saw what was developing, and just went back and picked it off. That is a big, big play by a young man.
And Florida takes a timeout with 13:09, and they've got their offense back on the field when we come back.
This presentation of college football brought to you by Best Buy. You happier. The 2009 Cadillac CTS. And Verizon Wireless.
Fourth time Florida will start a drive in Florida State territory today. And Moody gets the handoff and gets down to the 31-yard line. Myron Roll, the safety, made the stop. What a week it's been. We want to congratulate Myron Roll. Last week was named as a Rhodes Scholar. Got off the private jet. Bob Basham, the Outback Steakhouse co-founder, got the jet to the group. And then they flew him from Alabama over in time to get in the second half of the game. He got doused by his teammates. He says one of the greatest days you could ever have. Even the back judge at the ball game walked over. Tommy Pace walked over and shook his hand, said, "I'm so proud of you. So are we. If you've ever been around this young man." And here goes Moody for what might be another touchdown. Did he get there? Jamie Robinson prevented it, but it's a 30-yard run, and it's 1st and goal Gators. But just to finish up on Myron Roll, if you've ever been around this kid, you talk about one of the sharpest and most intelligent and just charming guys to be around. The youngest of 5 brothers. Now get a load of this. Here's what mom and dad did. The oldest brother's an investment banker. Second oldest is a lawyer. The third oldest is a medic in the military, and the fourth oldest, just above him, just graduated from Florida State in sports management, wants to be an agent. You think mom and dad did something right with these guys?
That's what I asked him. I said, what do mom and dad do? And that was... He was a very pleasant man to talk to.
And mom and dad both from the Bahamas, and he said they start stressing education there a little bit earlier than they do in the United States, and so they instilled that. But anyway, congratulations to Myron Roll. This plays under official review right now. As you take a look at Moody coming down the field and hit, trying to dive to the pylon. Foot is out, and then he hits the pylon with the ball.
Boy, I'm going to tell you something. This is really close because when he's coming down, there's his foot, but he's already stretched way out, and that thing hit the back part of the pylon. Look at this. I mean, keep an eye on this now. When he comes down.
Well, his foot's out before the ball hits the pylon. That part's for sure.
Okay. There's this.
I think they've got it set up just in about the right spot, don't they?
I do too.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. They await the official review. Tim Tebow looking over there on the sideline. Myron Roll, we talked to Bobby Bowden about coaching somebody that's this sharp.
It was nearly like winning 2 games. You know what? Everybody was just waiting to see how's he going to come out. How's he going to come out? wouldn't it be good if he could win it? And dadgummit he did, and came back, we won the ball game. So that was really a double fulfillment.
Yep, like a double victory. Roll out of Galloway, New Jersey, finished his pre-med degree, folks, in 2.5 years, and he got a grant for cancer research last summer. Wants to be a surgeon.
Yes.
And he'll go to Oxford, England.
And he's just finishing his 3rd year, and so he has to take his Rhodes Scholarship immediately.
Right.
You can't go to the NFL, so he'll go next October.
Well, guys, Todd McShay today told me that football-wise, Roll would be best served to play another year here. The critique goes like this.
Just call on the field.
So here's the critique. In coverage, he still comes up a little short, and he's not the playmaker that most expected he would be when he came to Tallahassee. If he was available for this spring's draft, at best, guys, he'd be a 2nd-round pick.
I asked him yesterday, I said, Myron, you're going to go just to, you're going to go to the combine? Can you do that? He said, you know what? We sat down with the family at Thanksgiving, and it's the first time we even talked about it, so not quite sure. And he might even go to the Senior Bowl just as a visitor. He's not a senior, so he wouldn't play, but he could talk to a bunch of coaches, and there's nothing illegal about that.
You ever talk to a guy for 20 minutes, and all he does is smile? He's the most pleasant.
He's a keeper.
Being.
He's a keeper. Demps in the backfield. It's 1st and goal, Florida again. Tebow. Pitch. Demps. Touchdown. Couldn't have timed the pitch any better. Tim Tebow knew he was going to take a shot, and he did, but he got it to number 2, and he tiptoed into the corner.
It looked like from up here, but I'm kind of blocked, but it looked like from up here, the Demps almost didn't get into the end zone. But he probably, he's probably way in. What a great pitch. Look at that. Here's Demps. No, whoop.
Oh.
Let me get
if
back.
He didn't have fancy feet, he wouldn't have gotten in there. Great crossover step because he almost ran out of real estate there. Jonathan Phillips in for the point after, and it's good. And so the route is on with 11:48 remaining. 7 straight games. Doesn't get much better than that, does it? Demps in the corner for the touchdown. Well, nothing worse than having your team getting beaten. You got 4 Gator fans standing behind you. And they're ready to pour something on your head. It's been that kind of day for Florida State. 45-15. They're down 30 with 11:48 remaining.
And you're wet to the bone.
You're wet to the bone.
Yep.
Here's a line drive kick, going to be bouncing down inside the 20. Garvin fields it at the 19. Michael Garvin looking for another crease. Now, he's been one of the bright spots today for Florida State. Another 23-yard kick return. Ahmad Black, one of the starters on defense, also on the special teams, makes the stop. Let's check in with Matt Weiner, New York. Matt.
All right, Brad, our nominee for the Pontiac game-changing performance comes from Lubbock, where Texas Tech has scored 21 unanswered to overtake Baylor. Graham Harrell to Detron Lewis. Harrell's completed passes to 10 different receivers tonight. Vote for your Pontiac game-changing performance starting tomorrow at 9 on ESPN.com.
Well, Texas Tech, 2:34 left. They got time for another touchdown or two. Unless Baylor has an answer, that could send it to overtime. Anton Smith playing banged up. He was out of the ball game earlier in this half. Gets out, got about 8 yards on that carry. Jimbo Fisher, we talked about him. He is the offensive coordinator. He is the head coach in waiting, meaning when Bobby Bowden decides to retire, he'll take over. We talked to Coach Bowden about when that might be.
I just go from day to day, and all I know is, I've always signed 5-year contracts until this year. Well, ain't no sense me sign a contract till 83, till I'm 83 years of age. Ain't nobody gonna believe that, So we just sign a 1-year contract. I can let them know each year whether I want to return.
Well, whenever he goes, it'll be one of the gems of all time that we won't be around anymore, just like Joe Paterno, who's 2 games in front of him and 3 years older. Bobby turned 79 the day of the Clemson game when he had hoped to coach against his son Tommy. That isn't the case, as Tommy resigned under pressure at Clemson. But he had all the guys there, Jeff and Tommy and Terry, the whole family. Miss Ann put out the spread for Thanksgiving. He had grandkids running all over the place. A nice day for the Bowden family to all get together. I said, did you talk any football? And Bobby just laughed. Here's Weatherford. They're going to have to eat this one, and he'll go down for a 2-yard loss. Jay Howard with the stop.
Well, personally, I don't want to see him retire, Dagnabbit.
Dadgummit.
Oh, Dagnabbit. He does a Dagnabbit, Dadgummit.
Pacific Life game summary. Well, Florida has surpassed their normal total yard output, 473, 20 first downs.
Yards per play.
Yeah, almost 8 yards a play. That's something. Ten minutes remaining. Second down and 13. Fortson, the freshman wide receiver, switches from the left over to the right side as Weatherford in the gun, and Florida thinking about bringing some heat. They'll back out of it. Weatherford throws, completes. Short gain to Rod Owens as we check in with Rob Stone.
Well, Brad, on that last touchdown for Florida, Urban Meyer went into the crouch before the play. Tim pitched it, touchdown. Coach did not celebrate and did not get out of that crouch until he saw Tim Tebow get back up on his feet, and he was all right. Remember, Percy Harvin already left this game in the first half. Coach is not going to take any more chances with Tim Tebow. He is done. John Brantley will be coming on this next series for Florida. Again, they're a little thin in the backup quarterback position, guys.
Yeah, they are. Their third guy has been suspended from the team after being arrested. Cam Newton. Chaz Henry's actually the emergency quarterback, I guess you should say, the punter. Weatherford. Oh, poor other. Oh, man. 6th drop pass, not just off the arm of Weatherford, but Devontre Richardson and Christian Ponder before him. You talk about dropping the ball. Preston Parker, who's your most able-bodied receiver, I guess. And then you got Surency. That one popped out, should have been caught. Here's the guy that just dropped the last one, Fortson, so that means we know Jarman's got 2 today. Not helping the cause is what we're saying.
Why is
disorganized and timeout. 8:57 remaining in the ballgame. Just another average day at the office for Tim Tebow, accounting for 4 touchdowns, 3 through the air, 80 yards rushing, and another score. One of the captains, he'll be 20-5 as a starter 9 minutes from now.
You know, his stats are not as good as they were last year when he won the Heisman. He had a monstrous season last year, but they were 9-4. This year they're 10-1. That's the generalship part of it.
And Weatherford can't handle the weather as Carlos Dunlap sacks him way back on the other side of the field. Let's check in with Matt Weiner in New York. Matt.
Well, Brad, Florida State's losing about every way you can right now because it looks like Boston College is wrapping up the Atlantic Division of the ACC. Maryland down by 7 with the ball, but Chris Turner is picked off by Robert Francois, who is headed toward the paint. BC #1 of the country in interceptions, and now it'll be BC and Virginia Tech in the Dr. Pepper ACC Championship game. You'll see that next Saturday at 1 Eastern time on ABC.
How about that, boys? We got a rematch from last year.
Yep, two pretty good coaches.
Yep.
Frank Beamer did a great job of coming back after all those seniors, those 5th-year seniors that he lost from last year.
On the carry, Chris Rainey.
And I'm looking forward to it.
Last year we had Matt Ryan in that game. He's done pretty well for himself. Reminder, coming up tonight, Notre Dame struggling again this year under Charlie Weiss, and they take on #5 USC. 80th meeting between the two. It's college football primetime presented by Hampton Hotels as part of Rivalry Week presented by Samsung Mobile. And there's one guy having a really good time and one guy that's not having a really good time. Again, keeping it on the ground. Chris Rainey right up the middle. Marcus White and Bud Thacker made the stop. As Rob told you before, John Brantley now, the redshirt freshman out of Ocala, takes over. John, a second-generation Gator. His daddy, John, was quarterback here in the late 70s. And his uncle, Scott, who's a friend of mine I've known a long time, was an All-American linebacker in Gainesville and went on to play a long time with the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Was there ever a doubt that he was coming to Florida?
I don't think so. Same thing with Tebow.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
His mom and dad, their first date was the Georgia-Florida game. I mean, you pretty much know you're going to go to Florida.
Yeah.
And whistles. Stop play here. They took too much time. So 7:21. And we got a timeout as Tim Tebow's going to come out and talk to his backup, John Brantley. He said, take that thing off. I got to talk to you so you can hear me. Near the conclusion of our game today, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team. Chevy will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's General Scholarship Fund. Let's check in with Rob.
All right, guys, this is one of the many things I like about Tim Tebow. If you put one of those little blue windbreakers on him, you'd think he's a coach. He's got that headset on nonstop. He's been charging on and off that sideline, even though even when he was still playing, I should say, not when he's just here on the bench. He's talking to his backup right now. He'll walk over to the offensive huddles with that headset on, start barking something to some of the guys, and then back right on off. I don't know if he's a coach in the making, but he is awfully active. Look at him. He's still out there. You know, he and Urban are talking some ideas. Let's discuss. Let's clap the hands. All right, let's run the spread. Let's bring it over here. Guy's involved, man.
He is. He's the all-time touchdown rushing leader, having passed Emmitt Smith earlier this season. I mean, you know, you pass a running back as good as Emmitt, that means you're running the ball pretty good. Here's Rainey spinning his way. Dips. Moody. You pick your poison. That's Moody. Talked about Bob and Pam Tebow. They met at Florida. Their first date, the Georgia-Florida game. Tim's grandpa told his daughter Pam, listen, you two are not getting married until you graduate. So the day she graduated, they went and got married the same day.
Oh, boy.
You know? And he's been spending time, Tim Tebow, I think a lot of you know what he does off the field. He's been on several missions with his dad in the summers and before he came to Florida. I tell you the mission he's on right now, go to Georgia, beat Alabama, and play in a big game.
He's really a nice guy to talk to. I mean, it's my first time ever having the opportunity to talk to him. And we did it by phone, but you just know the character of this young man, and it's absolutely phenomenal.
Yep. You talk about him, and then you talk about Myron Rolle, and there's so many negative things that come out. And you say, you know, why these kids this day this way, and then you look at these two and go, well, not everybody can be a Rhodes Scholar or a Heisman Trophy winner that's on a mission every time he gets a break, but these are two of the great kids in college athletics right here on this field today. Nice to talk about something good instead of something bad. Here, here. Chaz Henry, and now the chance of SEC, because a lot of Knoll fans have disappeared to the parking lots, and the Gator fans are staying to cherish every remaining minute of this one. For those of you that may have joined us late, Percy Harvin earlier in the ball game in the first half went down on that carry, injuring, we think, his right ankle. We're not quite sure. You see him limping to the sideline, and if that's a high ankle strain, as Bob said, he's not going to be available at the Georgia Dome next Saturday night. But the one thing Urban Meyer has, speed at every position. He's got about 4 tailbacks he can utilize, and he's got a lot of other wide receivers other than Percy Harvin, and then there's only one Tim Tebow.
There's no question that he's going to miss Percy Harvin.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, but he has other guys. He's got depth. He's got Brandon James he'll put in there some. He's got Rainey he can put in there.
It's and Moody, who carried the last time out there.
And Moody.
Well, the thing about it is, though, too, that when you talk to Mickey Andrews, he's the guy that really sets it up for me. He says, when you talk about a guy like Percy Harvin, you got to know where he is all the time. I mean, he is accountable. So you got to have 2 guys on him when you know he's in a kind of a pass pattern because of his great speed and hands. Then when he moves into the backfield, you've got to make sure linebackers know where he is. So he really tests a defense.
Devontae Richardson, nice run before slipping. Ooh, that was kind of an ugly landing, too, on his own as he was trying to plant, and he comes up limping. You could see right at the very end of that run, he hit the turf funny, and his leg bent in a direction you don't want it going. Now, Thanksgiving Sunday, count your blessings like the housewives do. One's dating her best friend's ex-husband. One's covering up her son's crime. One's husband might regain his sight. That'll be good for Carlos, I think. It's all new Desperate Housewives tomorrow at 9, 8 Central on ABC.
I think that's going to be good for Carlos, huh?
I don't know if he's going to know what his wife's going to look like when he gets his sight back, but that's a whole other thing. 1st and 10. Harmlessly incomplete. Weatherford, I guess Anton Smith was the intended receiver, and the rain intensifies again.
Well, we know where Florida is going. They're going next week to the SEC championship game, and then for them, hopefully, they go to Miami for the national championship game.
We don't know where Florida State's going.
And we don't know where Florida State's going.
We know where they're not going. They're not going to Tampa because that's set now. Boston College and Virginia Tech. And there's a good one coming up tonight. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. And even though Texas Tech survived a Baylor scare, Stillwater's not an easy place to go. I don't care if you're Oklahoma or not. That's going to be a ball game. You won't want to miss it.
Now that Texas Tech has won.
Now who do they start cheering for?
The University of Texas is pulling for Oklahoma to win because they don't want to get in a two-way tie with Texas Tech.
Because they lost head-to-head.
That's right. So they won a three-way tie. And what do you think about that, Brad? Now the Big Ten has their own tiebreaker.
Yep.
You know, a three-way tie. I mean, the first is head-to-head, but if there's 3 teams tied,
then it's how many division.
The Big Ten does it one way.
Yeah. Division I teams you've beaten.
The ACC does it their way.
Yep.
The only conference that does it with a BCS vote is the Big 12.
Well, I guess I don't mind that. The only thing I have a problem with, and you know, you can go back and forth about this all day, I guess, is when you go to Dallas first week of October and play in a neutral site and you beat somebody, how come you're not ranked higher than them, or how come you don't get to go? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, you know, they all have one loss, but Texas Tech lost much later in the season, the other ones too. So how do you rank Oklahoma ahead of Texas when Texas beat them? I mean, I agree with you.
And it's the reason that Bob Stoops and guys like Urban Meyer, who have been pretty vocal about what they think about how everything is set up. And Stoops, he just this week just said, you know, I'm not going to talk about this anymore. I'm just going to go play football.
Yeah.
Because I'm sick of trying to, you know, politic for my team. Mac Brown, he doesn't want to politic for his team, even though he did a little bit maybe at the end of the game the other night. And this ball's knocked down at the goal line by Justin Williams. But that's what it becomes. Now it's, you know, how are you going to do in the coaches poll vote? How the computers are going to rank you? I don't like the computer thing, but that's a whole other story too.
Well, there's a whole lot of things we don't like about it. But the one thing I have to bring up, about 5 weeks ago maybe, Bob Greasy said there will be no undefeated teams in college football.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
No, we asked you, and you said, yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
See, he's trying to sneak out the back door.
Yeah.
That might still happen, though. Well, as far as he meant, I think, in the big picture of being in a national championship game.
Okay.
Ball State, Utah, Boise, those guys.
Let him go. You just let him out.
So 3rd down and 11. Final 3 minutes and a 30-point rout right now. Weatherford trying to pick up some extra points here, but it's not going to matter. So for the first time since the mid-'80s, it's going to be a 5-game losing streak for the Seminoles. Fumble. And Florida's got it. Carlos Dunlap. Jay Howard is the guy that made the hit. Carlos Dunlap the recovery. Tim Tebow, well, we hope he comes back, but if this is the last time he plays Florida State, he's never going to have lost to them, nor have a lot of guys over the years. You think about this series, 53 times they played. Notable players who never lost in this series. John Reeves, Carlos Alvarez, that was the great hookup wide receiver and tight end, Lomas Brown, Ortega, and Youngblood. Florida State, Butler, Dawson, Lanier, Porowski, and Ron Simmons, All-American. They never lost in this series. So that's a good feeling. You know, you go, we won the Sunshine deal. We're our big rival. And you get that great feeling that Tim Tebow's got right now on the sideline as John Brantley, his understudy, in at quarterback. Whoops, high snap. And he covered it. But think about how bad you would feel if you played, you know, 4, maybe 5 years, if you played 5 years, and you never won in this series. And look at
guys who never won.
Collinsworth, Little, Richardson, Emmett Smith never won in this. Greg Allen, Jamie Dukes was an All-American lineman, center here for a long time. Gary Huff, Barry Smith. I mean, that's a bad feel.
They never won,
Never won.
Well, you got some guys that never lost out here, and you got some guys that never won, because Florida State has never beaten these guys in the last 5 years.
That's
so these seniors
are leaving without ever having beaten Florida.
Derek Nicholson for one. 1:57 left here. Let's go into Matt Weiner in New York. Matt.
All right, Brad, here he comes. Not politicking, just traveling at this point. Bob Stoops, his quarterback Sam Bradford. Need a win over Oklahoma State tonight and a little BCS magic for the Big 12 championship game, maybe even more down the line. You'll see the Bedlam game at 8 Eastern time right here.
Sam Bradford has had an unbelievable season. What's he got? 42 touchdown passes and only 6 interceptions?
Yep, he's had a great year.
Brantley will ride it inside. Give off to Rainey. Rainey cuts outside. And he's got a first down at the 28-yard line. And the crowd that's left here, the Gator fans for the most part, they wanted a personal foul on that hit out of bounds. Today's Chevrolet players of the game, was there any doubt about number 15 making it in there? Tim Tebow for Florida. Michael Ray Garvin had a great day returning kicks. The only problem is when you're returning kicks, it usually means the opposition scored a touchdown or a field goal. In recognition of their efforts, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. Well, fellas, we're seeing a pretty good football team here today, aren't we?
Yeah, and it's going to be a heck of a game next week. Florida, Alabama.
Boy, that is a tough ticket. If you don't have one, you ain't getting one.
Yep.
Unless you pay a whole bunch of money for it, I guess.
Yes. But, you know, the thing about it is, that, I mean, and I know the concern with the Florida people really is Percy Harvin and the chance of him playing next week, and that's going to be the biggest concern. But when you look at the roster of this football team of Florida, my goodness, I mean, they've got not only on offense but on defense. Their defense really showed up in this ball game, and they're going to have to show up next week.
Florida's got 19, as good as they are right now, they've got 19 starters back next year. 11 from the defense and 8 from the offense coming back, including all their best guys.
Well, that tells Tebow, hey, where are you going?
Well, he's going out to celebrate. Yeah. He's hopping for joy. Florida Gators 5 straight over Florida State. First time since the mid-'80s that's happened. While Florida State does drop to 8-4, their first 8-game regular season since '04. But for Urban Meyer, the dream of a BCS title still alive. They're 11-1, and they're going to Georgia to play Alabama on Saturday night. Again, final score. Florida 45, Florida State 15. Coming up at 8 Eastern tonight on ABC. It's more college football with number 3 Oklahoma taking on number 12 Oklahoma State. For Bob, Paul, and Rob, Brad Nessler from Tallahassee. Good night.